The Oklahoma Sooners are in the college football playoff, but still getting nothing but disrespect from the national media. I got Coop in today to talk about it on Rise and Shine College Football. Let's get after it. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome back to Rise and Shine College Football. I'm your host, Jason Watkins, in here with my Friday co-host for the day, Eric Coop Cooper of Unfair Sports. If you love college football, you know you're in the right place. So before you forget, smash that red subscriber button, like our videos, and don't forget to ring the bell so you don't miss one moment. Hall of Fame College Football. Coop, good to see you, my guy. How's it going?
Hey, doing good, doing good. Been a whirlwind season, man. It's crazy that it's over, and we had Christmas 2 weeks away. Man, I just this season it's been different. It's been different.
You know, it went by fast too. It's like I remember seeing you right before the season started in Tulsa. And then next thing I know, here we are. A lot of stuff we were just talking off air about everything that's been going on. Condolences for your grandfather and everything. But I mean, just wow. It's been so fast. Everything went by. We've been, but what a season it's been for the Oklahoma Sooners. And as I was kind of saying in the intro there, kind of disrespectful when it comes to the rest of the country and Coach V. And really even the entire team for that matter. You know what I mean?
It's I mean, you always start out with this, type of thing is where you go. I tell you this scenario happened at the beginning of the season. We give you the full layout and everything. There's not one Sooner that would be like, no, I'm out. I want nothing to do with that type of year. Like that's the you go through the ebbs and flows. So early in the year, it's we got a Heisman winner on our hands. We maybe go undefeated. Here locally, we all believed that this was a 10-2 type of a team. I think that right around fall practices, that's what Jay and I both had called was 10-2, and then we got a little squirrely on our final show and went 11-1, and people say we were crazy, and it's we all believed that there were going to be steps. We knew what was going to happen if you got anything from the offensive side. We knew what this defense was going to be. And and so now you're hosting a playoff game in Norman in 7 days, and if you can't get excited about that, then check your pulse.
Bro, no kidding. And it's kind of weird, and I think that we've all kind of talked about it a little bit, or I know you guys have had to talk about it on your show. I've been talking about it here. I think it's tough for Sooner fans to square up what this team is and what how it kind of comes about, right? We're used to high flying, explosive offenses that carry the way. This is a team that is completely carried by its defense and special teams dominance. Having a kicker that you get him inside the 40, he's good. You know what I mean? And it's just hard for people to square. Now, of course, I mean, I think we all kind of some of us feel like it's a little more dire than others, but you're in the playoff now, and if anything, if I noticed anything out of that Big Ten championship game the other night, it's that offense may be hard to come by in this playoff, especially when the two top ranked teams in the country that are supposedly heads above everybody else. It was a 13-10 game. I don't know.
Well,
there may be a better chance for the Sooners than a lot of us have even said.
And I listen, like we can get into the what needs to change. I encourage everybody, if you've not listened to the Oklahoma Breakdown with their most recent show, man, they've got the film guy on there, and he gives you a pretty good assessment on what the good and the bad. And there's a lot, and but at the same time, like we look at what the offense was last year and what everything around was last year, and
Yeah.
you made upgrades, and with those upgrades you got a better offense. But at the same time, you avoided the massive injuries, throughout a whole position group. You had a few injuries, between Keontez Lewis, being a little bit more of a safety blanket early in the season. John Mateer with between the knee and the hand. You had the R. Mason Thomas portion, but you avoided like an entire room being wiped out. And so it's I mean, you talk about like Ohio State and Indiana. I mean, those teams, we're going to also slam in on Notre Dame here in a little bit, but you can say that this Oklahoma team is extremely tested. They go through the red November. You start with Tennessee, at Neyland on Halloween, and that's a game I don't think that I'll ever forget. You have a top 50 defense in Tennessee, and then you play the rest of your games against top 20 defenses. And LSU had nothing to lose. They were going to throw everything out there. So was that final stretch as daunting as we all thought it might be at the beginning of the season? No, I think a lot of us knew some of the blemishes in each one of those teams. We knew Alabama was going to have an issue with running game. We knew that LSU was going to have issues on the offensive line. We knew that Nussmeyer, was struggling through the entire season, with just a crazy list of injuries. But still, those are still those teams where you go to Ohio State and Indiana, and those guys are playing Northwestern. They're playing Maryland. They're going through almost nobody's. And so when they actually come up to, something similar to what they are, it didn't look pretty. You have to kind of punch it out. You can't, they were turning ball over on both sides of the ball. Those are two Heisman finalists, going at it against each other. A lot of people, were raving about this front line, defensive line by Ohio State, and saying
But it
Indiana.
doesn't
And
have a lot
listen,
of depth to it.
no, yeah,
Yeah.
and listen, I actually owe PG a steak dinner because I thought Ohio State was going to blow the tar off of them, but I still didn't have a good idea about what Ohio State was. I can say this about OU, Jason. We know what this team is.
Bro,
And
that's true.
and though we have trouble, slotting it, because a lot of the people will say you got a young offensive line, you've got John Mateer, who has struggled through some injuries, and let's just say mechanically he's terrible. And then the receivers outside of Satania are just guys. But at the same time, they're opportunistic. And if you have this opportunity to play this way, you've played in this phone booth now for 2 years, where the defense has been able to rotate in 20 some odd guys throughout the game. And it's almost like I've seen it for shout out to the OKC Thunder. Everybody's like, well, the Thunder, they gave it them all, they're all every single game, and they're going to be, worn out by the playoffs. They got like one guy averaging 30 minutes a game. Like they're playing
Yeah.
their number 15 guy on the bench. And that's how this defense has continued to be this dominant, is that they have had such a deep, lineup. And a lot of us got upset last year with, why are you playing backups in crucial moments? Well, same situation this year. Like, why is Davon Jordan out there instead of Cortland Guillory in a crucial moment? And the reason why is because we are battle tested too deep. And if one guy goes down, a la R. Mason Thomas, you're not gonna have this massive drop off.
Mhm. Well, and I think that most people I think I saw a tweet recently that said, "I wouldn't have believed if you told me, when Arm Mason went down after that Hey, if I'm kicking out, I'm about to crank up this Starlink, dude. I'm having issues. So yeah, but
Okay.
you know, you wouldn't believe that. You wouldn't believe that coming in. Now, I still have my reservations about the way that this offense is playing. John Mateer's got to be better. I think he's got to be better. At least, at the very least, you can't turn over the football. You can't turn
Yeah.
over the football and expect to win. So, um, that being said, I don't think I've seen a defense like this at Oklahoma, including the national championship year. That was ridiculously good. But this one just seems like if there is a better one, as far as depth and everything else is concerned, I don't think I've seen anything like this. I just
It
don't know that I have. Because like you said, I mean, when R. Mason goes out, Taylor Wine turned into Superman. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just like, what the hell's going on? Owen Heineke, lacrosse player that, walk on. He's all over the place. Kip Lewis couldn't be better. And then Peyton Bowen, I think, is one of the best players in America right now as well.
Hey, I will say this. We all were waiting for the 5-star Peyton Bowen,
Mhm.
and this back end of the schedule, the dude actually just, I mean, he went 5-star. He has had so many different plays, and it's not just that he picked off a bunch of floated balls over the middle. It's not just that he made a lot of good tackles. And you can go back to the beginning of the season. He was doing a lot of quiet stuff. He had a lot of like
Mhm.
touchdown saving tackles, which when you go back and look in the box score, it just shows one next to tackle. Like there's not a story behind it. But then he started blocking field goals. Then he started, breaking up passes. And I made a very, very bold statement at the beginning of the season. I said, we're not going to see a lot of guys getting a lot of accolades at the end of this year because it's going to be so spread out. And you see that you've got a situation where you've got G Baby, you've got R Mason Thomas, you've got Taylor Wine, PJ stout against the run, Danny Okoye getting sprinkled in there. And when you rotate these guys in, you're not going to have guys like the Rodriguez kid at Texas Tech who is on the field every single damn play. You got plays where Kip Lewis is on the sideline. You got plays where you've got Kobe out there who, he missed a few games. I think I looked up at one point in the season. I think the leading tackler in the nation had like 85 tackles, and Kip was sitting at like 39. And unless you actually watch these games and watch how many people make plays in different areas on the defense, you can't really, I guess, quantify like how good this defense is because it's somebody Jacoby Johnson. He goes out and makes, a hell of a pick. You
Well,
got
and I
Jaden
mean, and
Harding.
he's in, and we don't even realize he's in because nobody's saying his name ever because they're not throwing at him.
No, they're not. And
You know?
and you've got you also have to say like the addition the games of Reggie Powers and Kendall Daniels that
Reggie has been
unlocked a new
fantastic.
level.
Yeah.
It unlocked a new level, and the film guy talks about it too, where you know over the past maybe 12 to 15 months, you've seen teams like Brent Venables' defense are able to go out and play a base defense, what looks like a 4-3, because Kendall Daniels is out there as something. And you don't even name his position traditionally because he is is he a linebacker? Is he a safety? Is he a rush edge? Is he what is he? Because he's just a freak of nature when it comes down to what kind of athlete he is. And the goal for the Sooners, I'm about to drop one on you, Jason. The goal for the Sooners is make it to the playoffs.
Mhm.
You don't look back at their schedule and go, yeah, but that one game, if that one game. So again, congratulations. I know that we've got a troll in here. I'm glad that you can continue to put up the win against Oklahoma. I'm glad that is where that's got the highlight of your season.
Yep.
Enjoy playing in the Cheez It Bowl.
Can't spell
And
Snickers without UT.
and guess what? Whatever whining you want to do about Ohio State and playing Ohio State, y'all lost to Florida. Y'all knew what that game
Ohio
was.
State
You all
isn't
knew.
the juggernaut that we all thought they were either.
Yes. And Ohio State played two legitimate defenses and scored 14 and 10. So that's why, as a Sooner, you go, there's nobody that's going to be better defensively that you're going to go face this year in the playoffs. And I don't think that there's anybody offensively that's going to scare you either, because we've seen the corners, whether it's Guillory, whether it's Eli, you've seen these guys shut down big name receivers for the past 2 years. So, but again, congratulations on your Super Bowl. I'm glad that your whole commentary is based around beating us. You're not in the playoffs, but thanks for joining another Sooner podcast. We love it when you're on here because you know it helps us out, helps Jason make a little bit more money. We appreciate the impression there, buddy.
Yeah, listen, you could cry elsewhere. I mean, there's plenty of I think they're live on multiple Texas channels right now, but here he is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Anyway, it is what it is. Florida's better than Texas as Sooners for life. And you know what? You really shouldn't use the Ohio State thing anymore if you're Bevo, because they've lost. I mean, I think it's pretty clear they're not the same Ohio State football team from a year ago. They're just not. You
It's
know,
if OU's defense was going out against a bunch of 2-6 teams like Notre Dame and was doing, all these, teams that were 133rd and like Syracuse in defensive efficiency. It has been, like those. That's where you would go. Well, let's see what this defense really is.
oh,
But again, you go on the road against Alabama and Tennessee. You do what you do there. There's not been this onslaught. You would even say that the Ole Miss game is probably the only one to where the defense actually had the chance to really look a little bit more pedestrian. And you can point towards a lot of stuff with there. I mean, Satania doesn't fumble the punts.
yeah,
It's not a marsh at the beginning of the game. There's a lot, but again, we don't have to make excuses. You're in the playoff. You're hosting a game, and the whole world's
facts.
talking about you.
The beauty of it is that yeah, here you are in the playoff before Lincoln Riley at USC. Uh, you know, had to rebuild the same way that he had to go and rebuild there. I think that's as big of something that nobody's really talked about, but that's kind of getting into the. I surprised me that you didn't have him up for SEC Coach of the Year. You don't have him up for National Coach of the Year as well. Brent Venables has put his stamp on this program now to the point. I mean, these guys they sound like him. They talk, they say that, I mean, they're echoing a lot of the things he's saying, but they sound like him. They believe. And, the grimy moniker that they've kind of taken on, it just doesn't feel like this defense believes that it could be put in a bad position, even though we've watched it happen over and over again. But, what a testament to what it is that he was trying to build. He got the time to build it, and it's kind of coming through. I mean, if you can get even a little bit of offense, I don't know what the ceiling is for this team.
I mean, I will say this is it's the offensive is inevitable, and John. I will say this: John has a lot of work to do in the offseason to work on his mechanics, because a lot of his mechanics are the reason why you see just really, really piss poor showings. And,
Yeah.
I will say that, 3 interceptions against LSU, like those were pretty, they were what they were. They were interceptions. They count, right? First one, you get tipped at the offensive line.
Can't do nothing
And
about that one so much.
yeah,
That
can't
was
do
it's
anything.
the sidearm shit. But
Yes. And then you go to the second one where he tries to throw a back shoulder to Giovanni against a 6'4" corner that a lot of folks are telling is probably going to be a future, number one draft pick. Though, like you have to minimize those. And John stayed away from the turnovers for so long. And from hearing in the practice, like John's had a hell of a practices, the past couple days. Our Mason Thomas is out there doing some stuff. And
love it.
so you wanted time to get some of your guys healthy. And I think that what you're going to see is, was the offense as good as it really looked against Michigan and Auburn? Maybe not. Was it as bad as it looked against, you know, uh, outside Texas or maybe against LSU, Missouri.
LSU.
No, it's
Yeah,
not that. Like
yeah.
those are really good damn defenses. You still go look at the statistics. Missouri's up there. You force Missouri to play a certain game, so you get guys healthy, and I think if you can get some opportunities in the run game, I think that you're going to have again. OU's got some good rest. Alabama's going to be sneaking in here. There's a lot. I saw somebody put it in here. Yeah, Ty Simpson has a herniated disc. There's some questions on how long that's been going on. Some people say it happened the first play of the second half of Missouri. The Trotter kid who was all over the field against OU, Jeremiah Trotter's, I guess, son or nephew or whatever he was. He crushes Simpson. First play of the second half, and Simpson couldn't stand straight up. But Jason, you go and you look at all the quarterbacks that we've played, and I went back and looked every single one of the times. What did that quarterback do the next week? The only person to actually have a good game was Lenore Sellers, and that was against Missouri, and or Vanderbilt, and he just threw the ball over the yard. Every other, it didn't matter if they were playing FCS school or another SEC school. They all had a very, very, very bad game. They saw ghosts. They had bad games the next week.
Yeah.
And then the running games went off. So that tells you a couple things. Like, you made folks gun shy, and then the running backs loved, and the offensive line loved playing somebody different the next week. So, I mean,
And that's
those are
the other
just
thing is, like, do you think that Alabama cannot be happy about having to play Oklahoma in the start in the opening round on the road this time too, when you came to their house and did. Now, listen, I'm not getting overly confident in the game because it is still Alabama. Uh, they've got some injuries, and I think there's definitely you should win. You should win the game. Um, but I want to see them do it. And it's just like you kind of want to see them kind of put it together. I think if you put everything together and play a competent offensive game plan, uh, and don't turn the football over, you should be in good shape. Especially if Ty isn't doing well. If he's got a herniated disc, you know, that's you're one hit away. You're one hit away, buddy. And
and
you know you're gonna get hit.
yeah, because I mean, our Mason Thomas, as of right now, I would say that our Mason Thomas is probably going to play on a pitch count. But you get to put him into second and long, third and long scenarios.
Mhm.
Him and Taylor Wine are both going to be coming, and it's not like Marvin Jones Jr. and Danny Okoye and PJ are nobodies. I mean, those are still bigger 250 plus 260 270 plus guys that are still going to be coming to try to get the hits on you, and they're going to do that. But yeah, if you're Alabama, I mean, do you go from you kind of limped through the rest of the season, you got through some teams, you got to Georgia did exactly what OU did to Alabama, and Alabama gets smacked in the SEC championship game. What does their mindset look like? I mean, you now know that this is a team that you lost to handily when they were a worse team last year. They came into your house, and I mean, OU had a lead for most of the game. I think outside of was like 6 minutes, and you know that OU is just going to chip away at you, and so you're never going to truly feel that you're in control of the game. And you always know that that opportunistic defense is going to get opportunities. So OU is going to do a lot to tie. And if there's going, and you're also, we didn't see a lot of the blitzes from Reggie Powers or Michael Boganowski, Jaden Hardy. You didn't Kendall Daniels. You didn't see a lot of those blitzes against Alabama. Like, you played pretty straight up, but they finally got to the spots where it's like, all right, we're going to let the corners play out on an island, and we're just going to send the house, and it's on you to make the good decision. And Alabama's receivers also had a hell of a time trying to catch the ball. And so when they've had trouble trying to catch the ball, and I know Jason's kind of bounced out here, so I'll just keep ranting as we go through here. But if you don't have the consistency and the faith that your guys are going to catch the ball, that's a tough place, because you're going to be throwing the ball into some danger and into some conflict. And if you do not get a perfect throw, you risk an interception. And so Alabama, are they going to continue to do what they want to do and push the ball downfield and throw it to guys, or are they going to try to play a little bit more conservatively? Well, when OU forces you out of who you are, it takes a lot of self-control, and they force you to go 9, 10 plays down the field without a single oops along the way. So, but anyway, I know that Jason is bounced here. I think he's resetting some internets. But chat, what is going on? It's been a little while since I've been in here, and so I'm just kind of reading through some of the stuff here. And I mean, what do you think? I mean, is everybody excited about hosting the game? I know that you talked to a lot of the guys around the program, and just the thought of actually hosting a game at some point, was something last year that felt like a long way off. So how do you feel at this point hosting the game? What are the big opportunities? You make it through Alabama. What are you guys feeling about the Indiana? I mean, that's what you look at. Obviously, we're in a 1 week at a time mentality, but I mean, is anybody scared of Indiana?
That was what. Can you hear me and see me and everything good
Yeah,
now?
yeah, you're good now.
Okay, good. Um, yeah, listen, that's one of the videos I put out this week, and I've talked about it a couple of times. But I feel like whoever wins this game is going to beat Indiana. We're talking about James Madison from 2 years ago that he brought with him, and they were. Don't get me wrong. I think that Kurt Signetti's done a great job coaching this team. I think that he's proven to be a hell of a coach and getting this team together. But when you look at the talent rosters, they're not the same. They're not the same. And you shout out to him for being able to go in and beat Ohio State. We've seen Michigan do that. They did it 4 years in a row without, and I think that their talent roster was definitely right up there with them at the end, or in the middle of that, that 4 year streak that they had going on. But you can't say the same thing about last year when they won that one. You can't say it about the first two that they won either. So only really one of those years that you felt like that they were actually a better football team, or that they were right up there with them as far as recruits and all that kind of stuff were concerned. That being said, this is new territory for Indiana. I don't care who you are. It's the same way I kind of feel about Texas A&M. Look, I get it. I like Mike Elko better than I like any other Aggie coach in the past. I still think it's Aggie. I still think that stuff creeps into your DNA. It's there. It doesn't go away.
The battered Aggie syndrome, just like from the SEC shorts. So, like, I mean, they're not just
It's a
creating
real
a
thing.
concept; it's a real thing. Yeah,
It's a real thing. And so if and being, I think that a lot of people don't understand what Oklahoma fans expect, what they expect. Just like I would say the same thing about Alabama fans compared to Auburn fans. And so Oklahoma fans versus Okie Light fans. The expectation levels are way different. And so, with the Indiana, I think it's the same thing. I think that the Signetti's done a hell of a job. Don't get me wrong. He's done a hell of a job. But in the end, you're up against more things than just the team that you're playing across the way. You are. The Rose Bowl, that's foreign territory to these guys.
it's
You
and
know?
listen, Indiana is well coached. I mean, they are phenomenally coached, but the talent isn't going to match up with what OU is going to run out there or what Alabama would run out there. Now, what I say is they will, if you make mistakes, they're gonna take advantage of them. How
Oh,
do they
absolutely.
also how do they handle Cooper got hurt, their number 2 wide receiver. He got hurt in the game, and he was really, really trying to get back in. They lost the number 8, their defensive lineman. I mean, that looks terrible. Guy was just literally walking along the wall. He wasn't jumping. He wasn't being crazy. He was just walking along the wall, shouting out to fans. And now he's going to be out for the rest of the year. And
Wow.
so that's it was a bad loss. I mean, if he's not their best defensive lineman, he was one or two. So you have those options, those situations with an A&M, with a Texas Tech, like with an Indiana. You're there for the first time. Like, this is, like you were saying, new territories. Like, what does that look like for those teams? is there a measure personally, like, we got here, we're here? That's just human nature. Some of that's going to kind of creep in. Well, at least we got here. And I don't think it creeps in until you get into some real good conflict in one of these games.
Right.
But I mean, you look at A&M and kind of how they played Texas. Like, they should have lost probably to South Carolina.
I was thinking, not probably, they were up freaking 30-3 at the
Yeah,
half.
it was it
I mean, you know,
it, and
they somehow they make that comeback there. That's the kind of thing that should have changed you, but then they go in and basically lay an egg against Texas. I mean, they didn't play well at all. Didn't play
very
well at all.
much. No, and Marcel Reed was one. I mean, the team was the reason why got down that big to South Carolina. Was Marcel Reed was throwing the ball straight at South Carolina, but we saw South Carolina give it up against Alabama. We saw South Carolina give it up to Ole Miss. We saw South Carolina give it up to A&M. That just kind of became their forte at the end of the end of the season,
Right.
because it's just Lenora Sellers out there trying to run around and be Superman. And I mean, all in all, you can't do that in the SEC week after week after week, and you definitely can't do it for two halves. Like, you're going to get yours, and then they're going to make adjustments. And I mean, but that's also why you got a bunch of coaches fired.
Yeah, listen, well, and that's the other thing. It's like, how much do you really believe in what A&M did versus who they played? You know, they ended up with what, 4 like every interim coach they played, they went up against them, that
Yeah,
was in the SEC, so it's like, okay, well, I mean, you give them props for, you know, it's a big win against LSU on the road, no matter how you slice it, that's big. Missouri, I don't know. I mean, I guess, but I mean, where's their
it's
signature win? Notre Dame. That's week 2. That's
it's
week 2.
it's it is week 2, and then you also look at what Notre Dame played. I mean, Notre Dame played two legitimate teams and one iffy in Pitt, and they
Well,
lost the
and
two
SC
legitimate
was at
ones.
9-3 as well, which I don't know what I think about USC either, but I mean, I'm gonna sit here and tell you that I still believe that Notre Dame's one of the best teams in the country. Uh, I know that they didn't play the same schedule as everybody else, and I'm not saying that they did, but I'm telling you that from what we saw from them last year, they were better than they were last year, in my opinion, especially at the quarterback. Their running back
Yeah,
situation is great. Their defense, you know, not quite as stingy as it was the year before, but I still think they had a hell of a team. I don't have a problem with I have a problem with the selection process more than I have a problem with the results, how it came out, right? I think that the process in general, it's weird and wonky and, you know,
it
it's
is.
not, and to me, it's not about, when it comes to that kind of stuff, it's not about how they came to or where they came to, how they ended up, but how they came to that solution. Eh, to me, I think that they wanted to put them in. I think their back was against the wall, and when it all boiled down, that they had to put Miami up against them, and it's a head-to-head loss, you know? It's
Yeah.
a head-to-head loss, but we know that they didn't want I've never heard anything about never ever have I heard anything about you gotta be ranked right next to each other before you start looking at them, comparing them to each other. I think that's all bullshit.
I would
They did that
I
because
would
they
say
wanted Notre Dame in.
I would say this is, if you go watch um the chair, and I forget his name off the top of my head. If you go watch the
Oh, Hunter
chair,
Yurchek?
yeah. So if you watch him at the beginning, I think it was the second playoff show.
Mhm.
He starts the interview, and the dude's looks completely fine. By the end of the video, he is sweating bullets. Like, sweat is just trickling down his face,
Mhm.
because he knows that there's a lot of stuff that they use for Miami versus Notre Dame, and then Alabama versus Oklahoma, and Alabama versus Georgia. And when you're taking all these data points, they were like, for this matchup, this is going to be a little bit more important. For this matchup, this is going to be a little bit more important. And I mean, I'll just say this: you got a program in Notre Dame which has swung its weight around for decades.
Sure.
And there's not too many people who are feeling bad for Notre Dame right now.
That's not even what I'm saying. I was just
No, no,
saying
no.
that,
I know.
like, as far as
I
that
know.
goes, I mean, and as far like, with me, I'm coach is upset. He's got and I understand him being upset. It was weird the last 2 weeks the way that they decided to go about the entire thing. In the end, I think that when it boils down to it, I think that this is the one time I don't know that I think they have to join a conference. I think that they have to, well, and apparently, they're not gonna have to because they've already got it
Everybody's done
written
with it.
into the playoff stuff that now if they're just in the top 12, they have to be in. Um,
But, but that's if it's a 12-team scenario. And if it gets approved in January to move it to 16, then that stipulation's out the window.
okay. Well, in any event, that is still is signaling that they're still trying to
Oh
bend
yeah.
over backwards for Notre Dame and let them stay where they are. Look, I think that both networks would rather have them on their airwaves during the playoff than not, because of the fact of just that saturation of Notre Dame fans that's in the Northeast, the people that otherwise don't really watch a lot of college football unless they're watching Notre Dame or, they don't watch Rutgers or anybody like that up there. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
don't.
It's trust me. I work with a lot of people up in the Northeast, and when we start talking college football, they just glaze over.
Yeah, yeah.
They
Yeah,
just
they don't
it
care.
just
It's
absolute.
pro
There's
sports.
no
They're all
care.
about pro
It
sports.
is it is the Giants, it's the Bills, it's Major League
Right.
Baseball, it's basketball, it's the Knicks. Like that's what their stuff is. But I think the committee also got a very, very, very got a gift from Alabama laying an egg in that last game, because then there was two focuses. There was the Notre Dame Miami focus. Then
Yeah.
there was can the extra championship game deter you from, can it affect everything? And I think it's even crazier because I think that when you get to the situation to where, like, they couldn't even drop Alabama down to the 10 seed because it was a slippery
The
slope that
SEC
they were
game
going to walk.
the SEC game was basically not even needed. They didn't
No,
move Georgia up, and they didn't drop Alabama back. Nothing.
because you can't, because if you can sit there and say, like, no, this isn't going to affect your stature for the playoff, and then a game like that happens, and then you move somebody one way or the other, then it lets that door open for,
Mhm.
yes, it does affect you, because
It doesn't, but you
I
can't,
think
but
Alabama
they
should have
did leave
fallen.
that door open, though. They did leave that door open, and TB
Yep,
just said that they're making it up as they go along. You
very
know,
much.
it's the truth is they did leave that door open. I think I'm stopped getting the chat for whatever reason. Let me redo it. Um, it the weird thing is they did that to look at BYU. They got beat on, but I mean, that was a close game for the most part until they started turning the football over in the second half, and then they got out of hand. But they moved them down, and that was their reasoning to be able to compare Miami and yeah, it's still not me. Sir?
It's But what's funny, Jason, is I think you and I have had this conversation way back a few years ago, to where it's going to be crazy. Instead of arguing who's the fourth or fifth team, which probably doesn't have a chance to win the championship, we're going to be arguing who the 11th, 12th, 13th teams are.
Mhm.
We're still having this conversation. Like, does anybody in here think that BYU was going to win anything in the playoffs if they played?
No, not necessarily, but when you're 11-1 and, your only loss is to a team that you've got ranked in the top 4,
No.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Their logic,
There's,
it doesn't make a lot of damn sense. They actually, and
it's all
BYU
over.
had a better strength of schedule metric than did Notre Dame. You know what I mean? And Miami. So why are you moving one down and not the other? Or you're moving them down, but you didn't do it to and Alabama. And I'm not saying that they should have done it to Alabama. I'm saying they can't. You can't, because the reason they can't is because right now they're not sure what they're going to do with that game. I think you could get rid of conference championships altogether and do the play-in games, and now you don't have to worry about committees and ever listening to somebody like Hunter Yurachek ever again.
Well, I think if you move to 16, you just have to bring back the BCS. I mean, that's just it's computers, and because I was listening to the traditional radio yesterday, and I guess that the Texas Tech, they've got representatives from all these different teams who had dogs in the fight.
Yep.
And I guess that there was one guy, however many committee members there were several people that remissed themselves and pulled themselves out of the final discussions because they had things in there. So why have 14 people there if half of them are going to disappear anyway? And then you're leaving it down to 6 people, and God knows what their intentions are. Nobody knows what their stuff is. So I think if you bring it back and you say, this is what the computers is, this is 16 teams, like that's probably going to, but again, people bitched about the BCS when it was around.
Mhm.
It's there has to be a human element in there. Maybe it is a combination of both. Maybe it is a situation to where the committee comes up with who they think that their top 16 are, and then you get the BCS. And if there's any glaring differences, because I mean, I think of the teams that were left out, I mean, I'm just going to say it. As long as they got a home game, I'm a little antsy about them playing on the road. But I think the only team that could have done anything might have been Texas. But Texas showed way too many things down the road. Yes, they beat the hell out of Texas A&M. We don't believe in A&M. Georgia, they held tight with them until they didn't. But then they had the overtime, necessity that, Kentucky, Mississippi State, like they didn't have a lot to point towards for why we should be in there. Now, you beat Oklahoma, but guess what? You beat Oklahoma literally with a dude who's bleeding from surgery. like that it is what it is. And I don't maybe they beat Oklahoma straight up if John Mateer never broke his, we don't know. There's no what ifs. All the ifs change stuff right here, but not in reality.
Sure, sure. I'm gonna try to pop that up there so I can at least see the comments because they're not even coming through on mine anymore. Um,
Just pull
yeah,
up
listen, I
YouTube
get
on a
it. I
different
mean, that's
screen.
the whole deal. It's kind of wild that in the end, uh, it's just crazy that the way that it's all going about. I think that still the best thing that you could possibly do is try to get to these playing games instead of a conference championship. You didn't need to play it. Um, and you
Well,
could
look at the NFL.
really for the sake of these, you could have 2 games in the SEC and the Big Ten, which is better than one if you're ESPN and Fox. And then you can have if the Big 12 was to wake up and decide we will take the 2 auto bids, because if you don't know by now that you're never going to get it, if you an 11-1 team getting into your conference championship doesn't get into the CFP, when will it ever?
Yeah, I mean, maybe at 16, maybe. But then you rely on massive failures elsewhere. I mean, you
Mm.
got to look at the NFL, you got to look at the NBA.
Yeah.
They have all gone to this deal to where your division doesn't, I mean, you're going to get placements,
People are acting
but
like
like
the
it's the
strength of
best
schedule metric
teams.
didn't matter. It did matter because look at what it did. You only ended up with 3 teams from the Big 10 and you've got 5 in from the SEC. Why is that? Because the SEC's strength of schedule metric is through the roof compared to the rest of the leagues in the country.
And then you get Miami from the ACC, who doesn't even play in their championship game.
Mhm.
So I think we all agree that it's just this isn't it. Like as far as getting the field. Now, does it matter? Can the 11 seed, the 12 seed, the 13, 14, 15, 16, potentially next year, can they go win a national championship? I don't think so. I don't, but I also think it's a joke with how things are set up right now. And I know that it's courts and it's collusion, but there's no way that James Madison and
That's the other thing. Get those guys the hell out of here. This is so stupid at this
yeah,
point.
James Madison and Tulane being in there, thank God they didn't have to put Duke in there. Just I do love the lobbying that nobody had a result like this after Duke's win. Like, bro, you got 4 losses, and we're not letting 2 lost teams in. Get out of here.
5 losses.
Yeah, 5 losses. And but all in all, I think that the whole thing's a joke. I think that you got to get a little bit more because the humans, this committee, they were doing a lot of switching the commentary when they were talking about certain things, and you can't do that. You can't say strength of schedule does not matter over here, and then the head-to-heads don't matter here, and then over here the head-to-head does matter, and over here the strength of schedule does matter. We're not stupid, and that's what they're kind of depending on is
Well,
yeah.
there's just too many competing factions, but here's the deal, if they had left Alabama out, the SEC and the Big Ten are liable to break away and do their own thing at that point. The SEC was
And
already over it. They were not I mean, they were pissed off about last year. They went to you I mean, you saw the signal once they agreed to go to the 9 game, it was because of the strength of schedule metric. There was no other reason for it. Because they weren't gonna do it and risk that other loss because you saw last year that it was all about wins and losses.
and again, you picture this. You leave Alabama out or you do something wonky. How long is it until a team playing in the Big Ten championship or the SEC championship just goes out and runs out the practice squad to play in the game because it doesn't matter? Like, that would have been the next step. There was a lot of slippery slope in here. And the next step was somebody just going, well, I mean, think about it like, what was it? I saw somebody, and I know it's completely different deal. It's fantasy football. Saw a tweet the other day. 2 guys were playing, and as long as neither of them lost, they got into their championship for the fantasy football. So they benched their entire roster and tied 0-0, and it pushed another guy out. Like, that would be the scenario that would come down the line for some of these other situations. You would
Wow.
have a team to where you would say,
I
well, I
hadn't
mean,
even
what if
thought about
Georgia?
anything like that. Yeah, that's
But
great.
what if Georgia said, oh well, we've got a lot of injuries. We're just going to run out our scout teams, and that we'll let them play Alabama because it's not going to affect us. Like, that makes a mockery of the sport. And when you don't have great leadership and you don't have a great system, that's what you leave the door open to.
That's crazy. It's crazy, man. Yeah. It's pretty wild to think about that. Let's talk Heisman. I'll just say where I'm Diego Pavia has to win the fucking Heisman Trophy. I don't know how you can not give it to Diego.
I think it's a 2-man race. I think it's either Diego or Mendoza. I think I was full on the Diego Pavia train until that Big Ten title game. And it wasn't that he just won. It's the fact that 2 plays into the game, the dude looks like he's done. Like, on the turf.
He did get cooked on that hit. He did
knock the F out.
Yeah.
And he is down. And so dude walks back out there, and it kind of gave me Nussmeier vibes from last year.
Mhm.
Comes back out, and he manages the game. He makes some of these big plays that, they're trying to run out the clock. He throws the bomb up over the top of the shoulder. So, I mean, I think this might be one of the kind of the most uninteresting Heisman like races in recent history. There's been some bad ones here recently, but
It hasn't been good. Yeah, this one wasn't good at all. I mean, it's just to me because I think Jeremiah Love has some call for it. I mean, he was great. He's been great all year, but in the end, Julian saying, I mean, the thing
No.
is the Big Ten. The reason that I'm saying Diego has to he's playing in the SEC. They went 10-2 at Vandy.
Yeah.
At Vandy. Even last year when he beat Alabama, they still went 7-5. They went 10-2. And without him, what would Vandy be? Because, I mean, I know they've got better players than they've had in a long time. I understand all that. But Diego Pavia is the most outstanding player every time that they take the field. And there's no 2 ways around it. It's just how it is. In my opinion, I don't know. I look at Indiana's schedule. It's trash. They played Oregon in the regular season, and then they played in the conference championship game, and the rest of the way they talked about Illinois, they blew them out, but Illinois did not turn out being the team that everybody pumped them up to be before the season started. That's not who they were. We saw that.
No, it
We know
wasn't.
that. They didn't have to play Michigan. They didn't have to play they didn't have to play Ohio State during the regular season. The Penn State game, they did everything. I mean, I guess that's his quote Heisman moment. Penn State wasn't good.
No,
They have talent. I understand that, but they weren't good. So
I think Pavia is going to win it. I think that like if I literally had $10 to bet on him, I would probably say 6 to Pavia and 4 to Mendoza. But
I look at Pavia, they were losing that game at Tennessee. They had to get that win to get to 10-2 and have a chance at the playoff. They're down, they start talking shit to him, and he rattles off 31 straight?
Yeah, he's one of the people that he kind of reminds you of Baker Mayfield in the fact that
you know what, but
you talk your mess.
I hate Baker comps. This one works. Works.
Now he's more of a runner and he's more of a football player than a quarterback. Like I don't think Diego Pavia is almost Jalen Hurts super light. Like I think if he goes to the NFL, you're going to have somebody build a system around him, kind of like they did with Jalen Hurts in Philly.
I think I can see him becoming a Julian Edelman type receiver too, though.
You always think about that. I'm always the type of person. It's like if Eric Crouch couldn't do it, like I don't know if I believe any other quarterback can do it, just because Eric Crouch was fast as hell and shifty as hell, and I don't think Pavia's got that juice in him. So, but could he be a guy who? I mean, we've seen some quarterbacks go and make it in the league that I never thought would ever do anything. So, we're seeing you put folks in timeout.
Yep, I'm working on it here. Sick of him.
But and I will say this: you ran out a little bit of time in Texas. Is he able to bring them back at Texas? He's got a lot of his Heisman moments. He also called a shot prior to the season starting. We all thought it was cute and giggly that they're going to go try to win the national championship. And I mean, dude was on the cusp of it. At the end of the day, in a 16 playoff league, he's in. Again, he's got 10-2. The losses matter too.
Well, that's their best record in history, isn't it? Isn't that in the history of the program?
I mean, I wouldn't doubt that.
In the last, as long as anybody can think of. Or anyway,
do you remember I think you were on the show with us before the season last year. We were rating the top 16 coaches in the SEC. And I think the only reason why Clark Lee wasn't number 16 is because Jeff Lebby hadn't coached a game yet. And I think he was at number 15 for most of us. And a lot of us were saying, he's got, he showed some life, 3 years ago with that offense early. So let's see what, you'll see how important Diego Pavia is next year if Vandy. Now, if Jared Curtis goes in and plays as a freshman and, is really, really good, maybe that's something different. That's just a tough ask in the SEC to play a freshman quarterback. I don't care who they are.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to win it. I think that a lot of people want Mendoza because he's kind of funny, goofy. His post-game speech after the Big Ten was really odd. But I also think that a lot of people don't like Pavia because I think he's got a little bit of Johnny Manziel in him too, as far as like the posse and stuff like that. But I think he wins the trophy. It's just a bad year for the Heisman.
The thing about Pavia with all that, I watched him on the Pivot, and I love the Pivot. I'm not huge on Ryan Clark outside of that show, but I love the Pivot. And I think you got more of a side of everything that he's about. You know what I mean? Everything. Yeah, his brothers are crazy, man. They grew up in the south side of Albuquerque. If you know anything about the South Valley of Albuquerque, New Mexico, it's It's legit crazy, and this kid's just having a blast, and he's won everywhere he's been. I mean, and that's what this award is about, is being a winner, and he is that. He was a winner when he went to New Mexico Military Institute. He was a winner in New Mexico State. He's a winner now. And so you can be pissy about who his family is and what they do and him hanging out and talking shit all the time and whatever, man. He's not getting in any trouble off the field himself. And
Yeah.
that bullshit that they pulled at the Tennessee game, he was cheering for the team. I didn't see anything crazy that he did. They got him for public intoxication. Everybody there's drunk. You know what I mean? Come on, man. It's a freaking football game. We know. We know how it gets.
we and you've seen a lot of family members of players in all different leagues start to get in more trouble, here over the past couple of years. And I think that it's a fun talking point because everybody, it's the old Batman quote, like you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Like
Sure, 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 sure.
some writers are going to be out there and waiting for something to write about. They don't
Mm.
have to believe it. They just know that if you've got, you go out and you go slam his family, his brother for getting, DUI or whatever,
Right.
there's going to be people who take up for him. There's going to be people who say, this is BS. Like, why are we even doing this? And then you're going to have the other side. I mean, you're starting to see it with the Sherrone Moore stuff. I mean, there's a lot of people who are like, man, really feel bad about Sherrone Moore. I'm like, come on now. Like you can hope that he gets better and gets help, but
Pray for the
I
guy,
mean,
Brent. Pray for the dude. He
yeah.
needs it.
And I listen, Jason. I mean, I won't go into too deep on this, but I don't think the coaching carousel is done yet for this season. I still think that there's other stuff that's going to be coming.
Wouldn't surprise me. Another one. I mean,
And
yeah. Well, I
it's
mean, there's the NFL doesn't get over with for a while. They're going to start looking for coaches at some of these jobs. Um, you know, I'm not going to bring up names or anything like that as far as guys that could go, but we know who we're talking about. There's guys that could definitely it could turn the carousel. And look, the Michigan job being open opens the carousel on its own.
yeah,
Opens it on its own because
it's. I mean, look at last night's football game.
Mhm.
There's a lot of people that want a new coach in Tampa Bay right now,
Oh, yes, they do,
and
and
there's
probably
half the
need
people
one.
who are and he's out there saying, "Hey, there's a lot of mess. There's a lot of responsibility on the players." I'm just saying, like,
Sure.
that could be true, but you going up there and ranting like that is going to find yourself unemployed because people are going to take the players over the coach
Surprises me
every
that
single
Todd
time.
Bowles even did that. That's so weird.
Gerald McCoy said it's kind of been stacking up for a while,
Mhm.
and so I'm just saying it's Atlanta. You got Kirk Cousins, who's filed for AARP a couple days ago. Like it's crazy. I mean, like, and yeah, yeah. Jake, I see you in there. He's one of them. He said, I definitely want a new coach. But there's going to be other coaching opportunities. You still have what's happening at Michigan because there's some names that are being tossed around for that. Guys like Lincoln Riley, Kalen DeBoer. There's a lot of, if Kalen DeBoer leaves Alabama, then it's going to be who goes to Alabama because they're
You know,
going to have a lot of
well, that's
names.
when you start looking at guys like Dan Lanning, who's the number 1 on their list, or Sark.
Mhm.
There's a lot of dudes that, could definitely I would say that being the next guy after the Saban replacement was unenviable for a lot of people. I think if you're DeBoer, you have to take the job. I think that and I don't know that he's leaving. It doesn't sound to me like he's going. I don't think he even the way he was like, there's been no interest either way for Penn State. But Michigan isn't Penn State. So, I
Yeah,
mean, it's wild up at Michigan, and it's kind of is Penn State when we start talking about scandals and shit. It ain't that far off. But it's still
but Jason, people are going to do what they're coached to do or what they're allowed to do. And that's why you saw the AD from Michigan get bounced. But
Did they
I
drop
do
him this
say that
morning or last night?
so I know that there was some fakes going out, and I knew that they were having the meetings. The big Michigan money meeting was supposed to happen yesterday. So if
Mhm.
that's the case, and then yeah, and I am saying this is there's would you put it past Lane Kiffin to throw his name over there for Alabama? Would you put it past?
Oh, man.
I mean,
No,
after
well,
all that
I guess
stuff,
I wouldn't,
he's
except for that he just got to LSU, and I think that he's in a good situation there for him.
yeah. Well, I mean, I would say this: if Alabama opens up, a lot of people will change what they consider okay, ethical, right. Like a lot of that changes because we
Oh, yeah,
know
I would
that
agree with that.
that's where Kiffin would love to go. That's like for the LSU fan. That's the first thing I said.
Doesn't
If
sound like
Alabama
he's
ever
ever
comes
been a
open,
real candidate there, though. I don't think he was even I don't
but
think his
Alabama people would go if they want him, they'll go throw the world at him because now some of the
but
stuff of
Alabama,
what
it
LSU
didn't
is doing.
sound like Alabama even wanted him at all. Like, they wanted nothing to do with him.
It's I don't want him as my coach because it's
No,
just a time bomb.
yeah, I mean, I like his offense. I think that he's done a really good job. I think that the Ole Miss stuff is overblown. I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's as much on him as it is on the way that it was all. I think as much as you got to stop with the timeline in college football is not good. The scheduling of everything. This is an NCAA problem, not as much more than it is a Lane Kiffin issue, right? And don't tell me that you can't have him come coach, but you got his top assistant coming back to coach for the playoff. I mean, I get it that you've got a new head coach or whatever, but he was on his staff and you're bringing in the coordinator who didn't call plays. It doesn't make sense. All I'm saying is if you really want to fix these problems, change the damn schedule. Don't allow it. You can't make moves like that until after the season's over. Simple, you know?
Well, it's going to be
Stop with
fun.
the
I
portal.
still
The
think
portal
there's
shouldn't open while the season's still going on. Stop giving me this. We got to worry about the academic calendar because we don't give a fuck about the academic calendar unless it suits us to give a fuck about it.
no. The academic calendar
It's
is
an
kind of like a
excuse.
life raft. It's just a life raft. It's no,
Yes, it's an excuse
we
for whatever you want it to be an excuse for.
this is no longer student athletes. This is the moment that you open the can, all that went away. All that went away. And to tie anything to the academic calendar when we know that half of these people, I promise you, there's a lot of guys that are on their way out to the NFL, and the academic calendar is what they're ignoring.
They could care less. Yeah.
Now, I do know that there's probably an ounce of, well, if he's ineligible, do you have to forfeit and vacate and all that stuff like that? And that's just where the relationship between the
They haven't
educational
gotten there yet
institution.
where they have to deal with it yet. It'll be a reactive deal that they'll react to it when it happens. But
Yeah,
that's probably
it's
gonna end which I'll just ask this. Who the hell do you think I mean, you're gonna tell me that none of that's going on anymore? The guys are, technically academically ineligible, but they don't give a shit because we're paying this guy, fuck that, and his classes.
I no. Hey, Jason, I will tell you this: when I was at OU,
I'm not talking
first
about
time,
Oklahoma.
no. But I'm just saying, when I was at OU first time and second time, I signed up to tutor the athletes,
Mhm.
and I just did not blast anybody specifically. The first go around, we had we had a linebacker who was one of the best players on our team. That guy could not have graduated without a massive amount of assistance.
Sure.
And then
Eh,
eh,
this is not
and then I
new.
got
This
and
is
then I
not
got a
new
then
anyway.
I got a name on my list the second time around. And I was very excited because I was into recruiting, and I see his name pop up, knowing that this is very, very, very good running back.
Mhm.
Never saw him. Never saw him. Never showed up. So yeah, they're still, we're going to push things and extend deadlines and stuff like that. And the backlash that a professor would take for flunking out Diego Pavia, would be that's not heat that they want. They don't want stuff like that.
No, they're not gonna do that. They're not gonna, and that's where, look, you might as well call it what it is. This is NFL light at this point, so you might as well start treating it that way, because in the end, you're gonna have to. But it's just they're dragging their feet in certain areas of it. They don't want to. They don't want to make them employees. I think and there's another one. If you really want to fix all the problems that you think are in college football, which by the way, the numbers continue to go up. People continue to watch it more every year. So all of you college football is dying people. No, it isn't. No, it isn't.
No, it's not.
It's only getting bigger, and it's going to continue to get bigger. So, you know, in the end, you're going to have to get to a point where you might as well just go ahead and go through with the whole thing. But they're going to drag their feet on as long as they can. But I mean, come on, man. It wouldn't surprise me. I guess I think that I think that he's happy with LSU because they're giving him everything he wants. Nobody's going to be. I mean, he brought his own GM. It doesn't sound like he's going to be answering to anyone. You know,
It's
it's all they're giving him guaranteeing this NIL package that's on top of rev share. I don't know how they're doing that, but they are. I mean, it's LSU, man. I don't want to hear about, it makes me laugh. Brian Kelly, well, we're not in the business of buying players. Yes, you are. You always were.
Yes, you
You
are.
know, the coach
And
just said it on the busing with the boys the other day. Well, now we bring the money in the front door instead of the back.
yeah, I mean, listen, I can assure you, anytime a coach says, "Well, hey, listen, we're not in for paying for players," like you can say that and say, "Or listen, we're like a Jim Nagy. If I can get player X for $2.5 million, and I can get a similar player, two similar players for the same amount of money total." He's going to go that way, and
Yeah.
and so he is not going to get into the bidding war. We got into bidding wars with guys in the recruiting class, and at a certain point, we're saying, I mean, this is what
This
we
is where
got
we
for you,
are,
man. This is where we're at. And then his mentality still
like
is from the
KD Jones and
NFL.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, his mentality is still the NFL, to where if a player comes to you and says, go Jerry Maguire, I want X amount, like, we appreciate that. This is where we have you slotted. Unless you show us something else, that's where we got you slotted. And if you want to walk, see it.
Mhm.
And because you want people who want to come and play football there, and you
Yeah.
want that's
Well, I
that's
think
what
that
that's
the
what you want.
recruiting side of it has been good already. Oklahoma was recruiting good before he got here,
Yeah.
so you've got a talent rise, and it's the reason I said Indiana's not gonna. I believe that either Bama or OU beats Indiana. I just talent is gonna matter. I think that I think it's gonna be Oklahoma because I think that Oklahoma is Alabama has a problem with OU because they're one dimensional. One dimensional against Oklahoma does not work. It does not work because then they
No.
tee off on, especially when your one dimensional is that you can't run, you have to throw. You're in deep shit now.
Yes, because you play King of the Mountain. And what was the rule of King of
Mhm.
the Mountain? I'm not going to do what Bijan did last night but there's other games. So you get the ball, you get to the top of the mountain. Every single person wants you off that mountain.
Mhm.
And same thing is, if you put that quarterback back there, he is king of the mountain, and
You're
Brent
gonna take him
Venables is
out.
going to send absolutely everybody else to knock him off his block. And
Yeah.
whether that is an Owen Heineke type of a situation like we saw against Tennessee, or it's a Taylor Wine against Alabama, to where he comes, it's hard to play football that way. And your quarterback starts making
No quarterback
all of
is
a
good
sudden,
under pressure, and these guys are always under pressure when you can't run the football. Trinidad Chambliss was able to run out of problems, but the biggest reason he was able to do that was a lot of it was bad field. Sloppy field's always good for the offense. You know where you're going. They don't. They have to react.
Yeah.
But the other part of it was, he's able to run the ball a little bit. You know what I mean? He's elusive. Plus but they hit some shots too. I mean, in the end, they were able to run the football too. You know what I mean? And they've got one of the better running backs in the country as well at Ole Miss. So, they were doing
a balanced offense.
They ran balance. They were never one dimensional. And so, and the same, I mean, look, you didn't lose to Texas because of their offense. It wasn't. It was because you didn't have an offense. They had one offensive touchdown and then that punt return. The fact is, you didn't get shit done on the offensive side, and that's not. I mean, so it didn't have anything to do. You got to do more than that and not turn the football over. In the end, you're going to lose every game like that eventually if you continue to be that inept on offense. That many 3-and-outs coupled with turnovers, you're fucked. You're just going to lose a game like that. But like, get one-dimensional against OU and not be able to run the ball. It's not a good thing for you. And I think that I don't know anybody that's really going to run the football. Nobody is really going to run the football on Oklahoma. So that begs, in the end, so you ask the question, who's going to beat them then? I don't know. You're going to have to do it by turning them over. You're going to have to do it by turning them over and being able to run just enough. Maybe you're able to hit a pass here and there, but if you get one-dimensional, you're in deep shit. You're in deep shit.
Yeah, you're going to, and they're going to force you to get one-dimensional. The big, I mean, even with Alabama, with Ole Miss, I mean, that stuff slowed down. They got that because Brent Venables, I said it earlier, Brent Venables is going to make you take what's there. He's going to make you go and be disciplined. And his bet is if you go 10 plays against his defense, they're going to put you in a tackle for loss situation or a turnover. And earlier in the season, you saw teams that they just wanted to get the ball out quick. And there were no turnovers coming with that, but there also was not stats. And then later in the season, starting with Tennessee, they said, no, we're good at what we do. We're going to take our shots. And so the sack fumble, R. Mason, return for touchdown, that guy took a pretty big drop. I think it was a 5-step drop, and Heineke gets there. He blows them up. Same situation with the pick six against Alabama is they're moving down the field. All of a sudden you get Kip Lubis come screaming up the middle. And right then and there, he has to make a quick throw. And if you're off by a little bit, you find Eli Bowen, and then it's coming back the other way. So that is where my thoughts on playing in Indiana is, yes, I think that their offensive line is very good. I think they're coached very, very well. But I still don't think that they played Iowa and they scored 20. They played Ohio State and they scored, 13? So you go, all right, so if I'm picturing an Indiana situation, they play a good defense, they're not scoring a bunch of points. And if they don't score a bunch of points, then you got that Oklahoma offense doesn't need to go out and score 30. They probably need to score 24.
I think the number is 24 for Oklahoma here on out. I think that's your magic number for OU. If the offense can put up 24 points, which is 23-24, you go out there, I mean, couple of touchdowns, 2 or 3 kicks. All you got to do is get him in. I mean, that should take a lot of pressure off of him. The running game has to be, they got to run the football. And that's where I guess we'll just kind of go here. What is it? We'll close here with this stuff. When it comes to this, to the playoff in general, but start off obviously with Alabama. How do you make sure that you get a win? My opinion is, after the Texas loss, you heard Gabe talking about spread them out, get them out of the box, and run out of that instead of running this and expecting tight ends to get key blocks and shit. They did it against South Carolina. It worked really well. Seems like they got away from it again. The RPO, I hate it. I'm with Teddy on that. Fired into the sun, for fuck's sake. But the health of the running backs is going to be big. Use the running backs in some way, shape, and form to run the football. You're going to have to, obviously, John Mateer is going to run the ball 10 to 12, 15 times a game. You just have to expect that. That's part of what they do. Fine. As long as you're not turning the football over and you're running the ball with your backs, I'd love to see them get to that magic number of 40 rush attempts no matter what.
Yeah.
You do that, you win. What are your thoughts though? What do they have to do to ensure? How do they win the national championship? I'll ask you that. Well, how do they win it?
It's. I mean, you're kind of laying it out. Is you have to take the opportunities that you get given. So the game-winning touchdown to Sustainia. Everybody's like, well, hell yeah. I mean, he was wide open. John Mateer's missed that throw several times this year. Not seen it. I mean, when I say not seen it, Jason, I would say 5 to 10 times throughout the season, he's had situations like that to where you're running so many of these mesh concepts. The big touchdown against Ole Miss, the big touchdown against Missouri. Eventually, these teams are going to say, well, we're not going to let Satania beat us. So I think that if you play the offense like you played against Michigan and like you played against Auburn, that's how this team wins the national championship. I think on offense, you need to have it in your mindset that, whenever you get favorable field position, you take advantage of it. I do think that John is going. I think the hand's done. I think we're good. I think that this time has been, a lot of people have focused on the hand. His knee has been pretty banged up. And if you see, there's been several games to where he's had a cutback available and he just kind of crumbled. And I still get I'm still PTSD from Jason White, running outside the pocket and then just collapsing. Like every time I saw it, I thought, well, there's the ACL. So I think that for what Mateer needs to do, Mateer's not going to be mechanically sound the rest of the season. I think that hopefully Kuzieski and Arbuckle and everybody gets that and gets down and works on his mechanics. But I've heard a few people say that Brent Venables has been very, very, very involved in the run setup the past couple weeks. And the RPO stuff is taking the decisions away because John Mateer's decision making on the RPO stuff is dog shit. It's bad. And so you take that decision away and you let him be a football player.
I just don't understand. I just don't. This is year 2 in the system, and you're not, watching the film guy. I was blown away by the one where he goes away from that one side. It's a touchdown pass if he steps in and throws it, right?
Yeah.
If he darts that down the field. He moves his eyes to the center of the field where nobody is. And then has to scramble out of the pocket. And it's like, bro, what the you don't know this play doesn't have a concept for the middle of the field right here? And what are we doing?
It's what I think happens is when they run those RPO concepts, he's sped up more than he needs to be. And I think when he speeds himself up, he determines things up in advance. I think that the interception over the middle against LSU, he was throwing that ball before the ball was in his hands. That's where he was going.
Yeah, I agree.
And so I think that is you're going to have, I said the magic number during some of the SEC games, 3.5 yards a carry. If X-Rob and Torrey can have 3.5 yards a carry, John Mateer somewhere in that range too. This offense is not scary for anybody, but I promise you a lot of defenses look at the Oklahoma offense and they go, you got to be perfect all game long, because whereas last year the thoughts on the offense is
at you at least, yeah.
Yes. And so another thing against LSU, everybody was like, hey, we got to throw the ball downfield, got to throw the ball downfield. I mean, I think there was 7 downfield passes in that game. John started feeling a little bit more comfortable. And some of them were interceptions, but he was throwing the ball downfield. I think Giovanni's, finally probably up to speed now, because technically this is kind of where the LSU game was, I mean, essentially week 2 of the season for him, because he did not get to go through any of the spring. He did not get to go full speed. So I think that the key for OU is when the defense gives you a favorable field position, you need to just take advantage of it. You need to be good out the gate. Your first possession, we've done really, really well. I want to say that in the 12 games that we played, we scored on is either 7 or 8 of the first possessions. I think that it was definitely at least 8 because it was 4 touchdowns and 4 field goals. And so, whereas the second half, we got to be better at the first possession of the second half. I think we've scored twice. I think most of the times we either lost yards or gone 3 and outs. So you got to be good at the crust of the times. You got to be good at the beginning. You got to be good at the end of the first half. You got to be good at the beginning of the first half and close it out. And if the offense can that's what they were good at against Michigan. That's what they were good at against Auburn. And those things need to happen. As far as the defense goes, just keep doing what you're doing.
And that's the good news there is that I said this before. I don't think the defense feels like there's any situation you can put them in that they can't handle. I mean, Exhibit 1, you get that almost touchdown, I mean, on that first pick, and Peyton Bowen on the very next play jumps out of the gym to get that damn interception on the next play. Ridiculous, right? And I mean, I just think that they feel like they can handle anything. They feel like they can handle anything. So that's a beautiful thing. I mean, look, if you want to draw parallels to the last national championship, they were sputtering on offense. And now that was a 1-game deal, which is why I don't draw too many parallels to it. Had they have had to go through multiple good teams, I don't know that they would have done it, even though they were undefeated that year. I think it would have been harder to do such a thing, right? It just because by the end of the year, his arm was a noodle. There wasn't much left. You know what I mean?
And what's funny is in a lot of the championship pushes, Jason White, the same situation. He had, I think it was a broken hand, when he went out and played LSU. And so, I mean, you've got, I mean, essentially, I mean, I guess if you're just thinking about how this bracket goes, you're going to play Alabama, you would get Indiana.
In the Rose Bowl.
And I think what's next, it's either going to be
either Tech or Oregon.
Georgia or Tech. So
Tech or Oregon. Georgia's on the other side. You don't get Georgia till you get to the championship game if you get there.
Okay. So, and Georgia's really the only.
Listen, that's what I would say. That's where I was headed next. At the end of this, at the whole end of this, whatever you have to do and however you have to get there, I think that there's no, if I'm coaching this team, there's nothing I won't do because this year may have lined up, the stars may have lined up for you because if you look at this side of the bracket, this is the doable side.
Yeah.
This is the doable side. You've got Oregon. I like Oregon. Don't get me wrong. I think that Dante Moore's done a good job. I like their defense too. I don't think that they're that good, right? I think they can be, and they're getting healthier right now. I think they're going to beat Tech. But that being said, I feel like they're beatable, and I know that Indiana's beatable. I know that they're undefeated. I know they're number 1. I'm not buying Indiana. I'm still not buying Indiana.
I'm not either.
I'm still not buying them. I don't think their talent roster is good. I think their coaching is really good. I think that if you put yourself in a bad position, they could beat you.
They will take advantage of it.
Absolutely. But I think that clearly for you to do what they've done in the 2 years since Signetti got there, there's a big difference in what the coaching is there, no doubt. But the talent, this is not an NIL destination spot, right? I mean, we're not talking about a bunch of high level, championship level guys on this football team. You might have 1 or 2. You don't have the depth of them that Oklahoma has. You don't have, or that Oregon has, or that, name a team in the SEC. You don't have it. I don't buy the Big Ten either. That's the other thing. The Big Ten right now to me is like,
I don't either. It's the
completely
Big Ten. So I will say The Indiana team reminds me of one of your Boise State teams. Like, you're very, very well coached,
Ah,
and
yes.
and yes, Boise State beat an OU team that didn't give a damn and had multiple key factors. But
And they needed
that team.
multiple trick plays to get it done.
So I will say this: I think that if Indiana plays OU, you've already lost, one of your best defensive players. You're going to, I think, the rotation of the defensive line, and I don't think Alabama's got anywhere near what the defensive line OU has, but I think that the talent where it's play after play after play after play. Ohio State had a great starting four. They didn't have great depth. I still think that with Oregon, Ohio State, and Indiana, I don't buy any of the three teams. I really don't. I really don't. I think that this OU is going to have everything. They have everything out in front of them. I think the only team that, as of right now, to where I would say I'm not 100% sure, would be Georgia. And because Georgia seems to have all of
They're
that
playing very,
talent
very well.
playing very well right now.
Yeah, well, they didn't have a pass rush at the start of the year. Now their pass rush is unreal good, right? They were able to take a page out of the Oklahoma book and get to Ty early and often, and it worked, right? On top of
And
that, Gunnar Stockton has been what they need him to be, and they're committed to the run. We talked about this the other day. They're
yes,
committed to running the football with their running backs. They're going to run the ball. You know why? Because it makes it easier on Gunnar. When you go 20 at 26, 26 passes all you throw. He didn't have gaudy numbers, but he had 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and they ran the fucking football 40 times, and it
I'm
worked.
and Georgia's beatable. I mean, they played a bare knuckle boxing match with Texas up until the fourth quarter, and they got that touchdown, and then they turned around and did the onside kick, and that game was over at that point. Their Texas's offense could not do anything. Then they go play Georgia Tech 16-9. Georgia is very, very beatable. I don't think that they have anybody super dynamic on offense. Zachariah Branch is great, but he is not a wide receiver. He is a super athlete. He's going to be a guy that you're going to need to throw the ball short. And if you miss a tackle, you're screwed. Look, 28-7 Alabama, 24-21 the first time. So there's OU's got everything out in front of them. And if we look back and OU makes it to the national championship game, wins the national championship, you're going to say, well, yeah, this is how we saw it. But it has to happen with the offense, has to have some commitment, just like Georgia, to the run. You don't have to have 185 yards rushing, by your running backs. You need to be committed to the run. You need John Mateer to be able to go and take his open opportunities, because when John Mateer is running effectively, it clears out traffic for Jaron Kanek, for Deion Burks, for Isaiah Satania over the middle, and that's going to give you a much better option.
Yeah, and I think that Isaiah Satania, shout out to him. And shout out to him for his first team All SEC. That's another.
AP All SEC.
Listen, I think that there were definitely some. Wasn't a fan of the no defensive players on the first team of the SEC All SEC team, which is
I knew it wasn't going to happen because I said things were so spread out. R. Mason Thomas did not play the final games of the season. But I still remain this way. You go talk to the other 8 teams in the playoffs and say, which is the defense that you are least excited about playing?
Oh, no doubt. And I think that part of what I was about to say too is part of it is a testament to the depth and the amount of guys that play.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, Kendall Daniels and Reggie Powers is coming on like a madman at the end of the year, right? Reggie Powers fantastic. Boganowski's been playing great. The safeties, they're 3 deep pretty much everywhere. You know what I mean? They're not always on the field all the time. And the linebackers aren't able to get as much stats because of the way the D-line takes up all the hits. They're getting all the tackles.
You go through and especially with the tackles for loss with with David Stone, with G Baby, with Taylor Wine, and then on some of the blitzes, I'm just there's a lot of chaos plays, and I wish that chaos plays was a stat that you could look up, because you have a lot of times to where a guy will not, like David Stone has sacrificed himself in order to blow a play up so many times. He got no stat because of it, but he's 4 yards deep, affecting the handoff to the running back, and somebody gets a tackle for loss. Like,
Yeah.
there's no assists. There's no assists on that deal unless you actually have hands on the guy. And so I just say with the SEC, I made it plain. I did not think that we were going to have a lot of big time award winners, because like a Jacob Rodriguez for Texas Tech, that guy cleaned up everything.
Yeah.
He Kip
He's a good
Lewis,
player. He's a great player.
I think Kip Lewis was slightly. I would say that the defensive MVP for this team has been Peyton Bowen, and I think that Kip Lewis is probably
Yeah, I
co,
don't know. Kip's
if
right
not
there
number
with
two.
you. Yeah, I think the second half of the year, you've seen Peyton really.
Havoc rate. Yeah, thanks, Jake. It's the havoc rate. It's how many times do you get guys? Because you know what? Saw Danny Okoye, when he gets in, he is in the
Mhm.
backfield pushing people the wrong way.
Yeah,
And I mean, you don't lead the country in tackles for loss because you got lucky.
no doubt. Oh man, it's so awesome. It's so awesome. But it is cool to see kind of where they're at and stuff. It's just as far as being in this position. Can they get a playoff
and
win now?
and Jason, somebody asked about next year. So here's what I'm saying is, I think OU is probably going to be a top 5 preseason team next year.
Oh,
You're going to, on offense, you lose Burks and Keontez Lewis. I think Satania is going to be a big time retention deal. I think Satania is
target
probably
anyway.
a yeah. Well,
Did
no.
he
I
get a
think
first round, second round grade?
I would say that as of right now, he's probably going to be looking at that back in a second, third round grade. And I think that OU can go to him and say, here's what we got is, OU is going to have to spend some money like they did with Mason Thomas this year. And I would rather to take Jaden Ott's money and go give that to Satania. But if Satania comes back, I mean, you lose Keontez Lewis and Deion Burks. I think that we'll see some more Elijah Thomas, coming through. They obviously trust him. He's been one of the
Giovanni, as he
MVPs on
gets
special
healthier.
teams.
Yeah.
Giovanni going to be a little bit more healthier. I do believe that you're probably going to have Manny Choice has been looking good the past couple days.
Mhm.
So I think on offense, you lose Jaron Kanek, third team All SEC. If I'd have told you that before the season, you'd have put me in a straitjacket. But now I will say, I think he's third team All SEC because the tight end room in the SEC is really, really poor. But he's earned it. I mean, like he did what you asked of him, and he probably had more opportunities throughout the year if Mateer saw him. I think on defense, this defense could be better next year, which is crazy to say, because as far as like people who you lose R. Mason Thomas. He's going to, he's going to go test really, really well. People are going to see what he's doing, and for this NFL, and especially with what Nick Benito's doing right now, people are going to really, really like RMT. You lose Dom Williams, Marvin Jones Jr., Robert Spears Jennings, Kobe.
Mhm.
So with that, you're probably looking at a starting defensive line. If you just talk about players who are here, Jaden Stone. Oh, you lose G Baby also. So you start Jaden Stone, Taylor Wine, and probably a Danny Okoye, um, or PJ. Got those guys starting. You got your corners who are going to be freshmen or sophomore and junior. You're going to have your starting safeties are probably going to be a mixture of Hardy, Boganowski, Powers, Omarion Robinson. and he is the next one. So I think that this defense has a chance to just do the same damn thing next year, and you just work on the mechanics with Mateer. I mean, if that's all he needs to work on is the mechanics, because I think mechanics solve.
Decision making.
Well, I think that the decision making will get better with the mechanics. I think if he can learn to trust his mechanics, that's going to help out quite a bit. I really think that this team's got a great opportunity next year. We said we were going to talk about the schedule.
Oh yeah, the schedule. Shit, I didn't even bring that up. I'm sorry, my bad.
I'll start out that talk with, you've got, as of right now, you've got 5 new head coaches on that schedule, and it could be more.
Five new head coaches on the schedule. Let me see.
As of right now, I had it pulled up a long time ago.
Schedule review. Here we go.
So you got Michigan.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Road game.
Michigan,
yeah.
Kentucky, South Carolina, Florida.
Bryce Underwood may be gone. They said he took off all his anything that had to do with Michigan is not on his social apparently.
And I mean, I'll just say, maybe he turns out to be really, really good. I still didn't see him. I didn't see him progress as a passer throughout the year.
He didn't have any weapons.
Well, I think the Marsh kid emerged at the end of the year, but we said the receivers were going to be an issue for him at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, no doubt. I think they were. an issue.
But I mean, I like, listen, I don't know if now I'm saying 5 new coaches. I didn't even look. I don't know about New Mexico or UTEP. So if somebody can help me out with that, I think UTEP is the kid, one of the guys that Oklahoma State was trying to get.
No, New Mexico. You're talking about that Coach Cack or whatever his name was, or something like that, or Lack, something like that. Anyway, or wait, UTEP was who? I don't know. They're not very good. They weren't very good. UNM is the one that beat New Mexico. They beat UCLA.
Scotty Walden. So never mind. I was incorrect.
Oh, let me see. I can't find the actual fucking schedule thing. You have the schedule?
They were 11th in Conference USA. Yeah, but I mean, it's literally in Discord. Hold on a second.
Oh yeah.
I did not see the release. We decided. My wife's been out of town this week, and so just doing daddy duty, and we got us. When Dad's here, I cooked steak and baked potatoes 2 nights ago. We ordered some Buffalo Wild Wings last night, so a nice protein heavy diet for the kids, and then we decided to watch Hook, and haven't watched Hook in a long time, and your boy fell asleep about 6:45.
Nice. All right, here I'm pulling it up now.
You got it this time? All right.
Yeah, I got it.
It's good podcasting right here. If you guys are wanting to start your own, this is not what you do.
Yeah. Shut up. No, this is not what you do, though. You're right.
I've got it. I've got it pulled up.
I've got it here. Here we're there.
Okay.
Okay.
So UTEP, New Mexico, I guess they both have their coaches, right? Michigan's going to have a new coach. Kirby Smart's obviously not going anywhere. Right. Texas.
The early part of the schedule looks kind of it's daunting, right? You know, Michigan off the maybe. Now, obviously, with the new coach, I don't know what the situation is going to be, but it's still Michigan in Ann Arbor. Tough ask right off the bat, week 2. We'll see how it goes. But then, yeah, you get UNM, you're going to win that game. But then Georgia. And then Texas. That's early on, 3 or first 5, pretty brutal, right? And you get to I don't know what Kentucky's going to be with Will Stein, new coach. I like Will Stein a lot. I think he's probably going to be really good for Kentucky. I don't know what that
eventually.
equates to, right? But I like Will Stein a lot. Mississippi State get Leb for the first time on the road, going to the
And
Cowbell.
that freshman quarterback that they have right now,
Dude,
that
he's a
guy's a freaking
stud.
athlete. He
Mhm.
is an athlete.
Kamario
Now,
Taylor, stud.
now I think that Brennan Thompson is off to the NFL. I don't know about Anthony Evans. I want to
Yeah,
say
I forgot
Anthony
they had
Evans
Anthony
was,
Evans had a couple of big games too. He was pretty good.
yeah, I mean, it's the same receiver. But Anthony Evans, I think he's either a junior or a senior. I'll have to
Um,
check that.
he'll be
Hold on a second.
he can definitely he's definitely got more eligibility if it'd be up to him. And I don't think he's had enough. You think that Brennan's going to the NFL?
I think Brennan's a senior.
Hmm.
I know that he got small SEC. Anthony Evans is a junior,
Mm-hmm.
and Brennan Thompson's a senior.
Okay.
Yeah, so true senior. So he's gone because he had Texas. Yeah. So we'll see what they do. But I mean, that's a big offense. You're playing in cowbell land. So if
Yeah,
you
starting.
if you're a traveler, I would love to hook up with Coach Dent and go down there for that one.
I was in Starkville for about 10 days between the Tennessee game and back and forth between there. I like Starkville a lot. Cool town. Cool.
South Carolina comes to the crib again. They've got all their coordinators now in line.
Swamp though.
You go to the swamp. What does that? You're going to have talent there.
Love that coach.
And Summerall
he's the guy.
He's a good coach.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's you've seen what piss poor coaching. Now people down in the swamp, they got the Spider-Man meme between Napier and Summerall, so they're not too bought in.
Shelton and them are the high top guys are for sure, and I think more people have bought into him since after his press conference was blow everybody away. Fuck you guys if you don't like me. I think that Florida fans like that. They like for you to come back at him a little bit, and he did. He's boisterous. He's he's not Steve Spurrier, but he's the defensive equivalent, I think, to Steve Spurrier, right? I like him. Listen, if they were going to have to get rid of BV, he was number one on my list. That's who I wanted to see at Oklahoma. So, to me, that would have been who I was hoping for.
And that's going to be, that's 9 weeks into the season, right?
I think they're going to be damn good. Yeah.
Yeah, 9 weeks into the season. So you'll have a good idea who they are at that point.
Yeah.
I think it's better.
No doubt.
Let's see here. Ole Miss. Like, what does Ole Miss even look like? Does Chambliss go to the NFL? Does Chambliss
I think he
transfer?
has to, right?
Is he a senior?
He was definitely a senior. But he may have, does he challenge the NCAA and get another year and then go to LSU? Maybe.
See, you don't know what, you just don't know what Ole Miss is going to be.
I don't know. I would think that their offensive side of the ball is probably gone.
You're losing the coordinators. You're losing Charlie West Jr. So
all of
it. You keep the team together by making Golding the head coach, but
just for now, though. That's just for now. That was a terrible move on their part, I think.
Well,
everybody's
you had to
saying what a great thing it is, and maybe they could have made him interim coach and found somebody else, but then again, probably not. It is still Ole Miss. I get it.
Well, I think that at that point you I think that at that point you just literally look at what do they do in the portal? Like, do they rally behind Golding? I don't know. So, but A&M. So it's A&M at the crib.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of you and I really fully believe in A&M. We haven't seen this type of production. I love Mike Elko. I think Mike Elko is a great dude.
Mm-hmm.
We'll probably have to go through the classes on there and find out, some of the most productive guys. Like,
what are they going to look like offensively when Colin Klein's out of there now?
Colin Klein's gone. I got to think that, I'm going to have to go look at their roster and see what they're going to be bringing back. And that's
Well, Bussy
Mr.
would
Major.
for sure be coming back, right? But what about the kid that was at
Concepcion.
Concepcion? He's junior, senior.
Let me see.
But anyway, I mean, and then Marcel, he's got another year, I'm sure. But
Yeah.
okay, but who do you go get? You know what I mean? Like, who do you go get? I think we're gonna find out a little bit. I think we'll find out a lot about them in this playoff. Can they beat Miami? I don't know. I think Miami, talent wise, can play with anybody. They also have Mario Cristobal, who can fuck it off against anybody too.
Well, and at quarterback, you also who are you getting? Two games they lost. Carson Beck threw the ball to the other team quite often, and Carson Beck is one of those guys that game on the line, it's not usually favorable to if you're depending on him. Marcel Reed is a sophomore this year.
I was going to say he's definitely got eligibility. And Marcel, here's the thing about Marcel is I think he's part of the scary part for me. I don't know what I mean. That game that South Carolina game, it was definitely a tell of two halves. He had 3 interceptions in the first half. It looked like shit.
And bad interceptions.
Bad interceptions. Bad.
So A&M, Ruben Owens is a sophomore. Le'Veon Moss is a senior, so he'll be gone.
Yeah.
Concepcion is a junior.
Mm.
Craver's a sophomore. Bethel Roman, who I think is probably going to be their best receiver, he's a freshman.
They're good. They're good at receiver for sure, man. They're good at receiver. But Concepcion can probably go to the league. He may not stay, but they're loaded behind him. Terry Bussey's coming back. He's got to. This is only going to be. I don't even think
this is. I think he's a true sophomore.
True sophomore, yeah.
Yeah. So Terry Bussey, I know that a lot of their fans. I mean, right? Good. He's 15 catches for 182 yards and a touchdown. Like he hasn't. He's been behind a bunch of guys.
He flashes, right? He flashes here and there and stuff because he's got that. Yeah, he's got that breakaway talent, but he hasn't really come to his own just yet. But I think we remember him because we were so close to getting him, or we were hoping we were close to getting him.
Yeah. I would like, where I'm going to have to go look at is go check out like the defensive line, because now they're getting to the back end of that, those big classes. And so a lot of those guys are going to be grading out. One of our old favorite names to talk about, DJ Hicks. He'll be coming back as a senior. So
has he done anything yet?
This year, 12 tackle, or let's see here, 22 tackles, 3 sacks.
Okay,
I want to say that.
He had a couple of decent games I've watched. I've seen him play pretty much every game, but I haven't seen him be that guy that everybody was like waiting for him to be. That we were hoping for, and like everybody was so salivating over him. But I mean, I haven't seen that yet.
No, he hasn't been. I
stuck behind somebody else for since he's got there.
He has been the defensive tackle equivalent of like PJ out of Boire. Like what you were expecting is not what you got.
Yeah, PJ with his injuries and stuff, he's looking a lot better this year, thankfully. But yeah, I mean,
he's against the run, he's one of the best. And then I just hate this game as the last one for the season, but
Mizzou. They're just trying really hard on that one, aren't they? To turn it into an actual rivalry.
Yeah.
Never will I admit such a thing.
I mean, if I could switch, hell, I mean, I don't even know who I'd switch. Maybe switch Ole Miss and Missouri for the dates wise. Maybe, because we
Egg Bowl week.
That's
Egg Bowl week.
Yeah, I guess so. When you don't have maybe with the new coach down at Polk State, somewhere in the future, we can.
He was kind of taking a little shot at Oklahoma on his way in.
He said he would like to see that game, and I mean, he sure as shit won't like it next year if we play them next year.
Oh no, they'll wait. They're going to definitely wait it out now because they're so bad. 0-18 since Big Brother left in the conference.
Sold it all for nothing.
Mhm.
But that schedule, Jason, I mean, the toughest games. I mean, obviously, you start at Georgia, and I'm at a point right now to where I will pick Texas to beat Oklahoma until they prove me wrong.
Yeah, I'm kind of there.
So it's nothing,
Oh, I don't
nothing
know.
against anything.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
But I agree with you. I think that right now, I said it earlier this year. The bad thing about it is that this is the year you should have beat their ass, because this is the worst, probably the worst team that they've had in the last 3 years. It's the worst team they'll have for the next 3 years, probably. Just looking at who they are and what they
well,
have.
they're going to be losing between the transfer portal, and if anything happens with Sark,
Depends
that
on
a
that, but
lot of
I mean,
stuff goes.
obviously, but what I'm saying is where they are with Sark as presently built. They've got
Currently,
all
yeah,
kinds of talent, and this was the year that you're getting them as youth and inexperienced, and they weren't playing well too.
yeah.
It's
It's
um,
Now I will say this: both OU and Texas they had to go to the swamp, the week before. They have a bye before they got a bye before playing with us. Also, and who do they have after us? Because that's going to be a. Let me see. I'm looking right now. They got Florida the week after us. So I don't mean, looking at the schedule prior to this year, a lot of the big games that we played, the opponent had, a pretty big game and, right before us. I think that's just the definition of the SEC, because I would not say them playing Florida after and us playing Mississippi State, we got the better. Like, no, I think it's about the same. And I mean, they're gonna get Florida. What is that? Week 7 of the season. So I mean, they'll get a chance to go down there, or Florida's coming to DK. So I mean, I think that there's a big opportunity for, um, for Florida to be who they are, and Texas is going to do the same. Now I want to
yeah.
see what's happening. They've lost a ton in transfer portal already, and
And then Georgia, I mean, this is another one of the. I mean, if you look at it, this is a 10, 19 win looking schedule. But
I
depending on
I would
how good
say
are you? How good are you? Do you get better at quarterback? I don't know. Look, if they go out there and you see Mateer not play well in this playoff and they get kicked out of the playoff early, do they make a change there?
I think you have to have a competition in the spring if Hawkins is still around. I think it is.
Shit, I hope so. But I
You
don't know that
have
I
to
believe
do
that.
it.
I don't know that I
Well,
believe it.
here's what Hawkins has to prove himself too. Hawkins looked like dog shit against Kent State. He was not
I don't
good,
know that I believe that he looked like. I don't think he looked like dog shit against Kent State. I disagree with
bro.
you on that. But I'll say
Kent
this.
State's one of the worst
But I
teams in
will
the
say this.
country.
But I will say this. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. I'm not going to get into the Kent State. I'm going to say this though. We haven't given him an opportunity to really to work. I mean, John Mateer can look like dog shit week to week to week, and we keep trotting him out there. So if you give him some kind of leash, I mean, the expectation has to be, you can't just say, come in one game and be everything. Okay, cool. Because if you look at John Mateer's first game against Illinois State, it took him a while to get warmed up there too. He had
Illinois
turnovers.
State's Illinois State's a better team than
The point,
Kent State.
fine. He also had a year of being a starter in this offense, and I'm watching him week after week. I don't care about so much what game they did whatever, and it doesn't even matter. You haven't had enough time to show whether he is or isn't good enough. We know that Mateer has made it. It hasn't been good, and it wasn't. He was throwing interceptions before he got hurt too. We were talking. I know there were conversations on every channel about it. We got to stop turning the ball over here. You know, his inability to put air under the ball, or unwillingness to put air under the ball. There's been some things, but we keep trotting him out there. Michael Hawkins is never getting, you're going to have some hiccups at some point. You're not going to come out there and be Heisman ready day one. That's the point I'm trying to make. And we have never given him that. So I don't believe that's the point I was making, is I don't believe that they're going to give him that now either. They want, Arbuckle wants it to be John Mateer. It's going to be John Mateer.
I would say this year, yes. But I would also say, I mean, as far as this year goes, Hawkins had his opportunity to go out there and make this a controversy, and he didn't. If he would have gone out and thrown for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns,
they had 5 scoring drives in that game. He had one bad series where he made 3 bad throws. And Beatonbow was talking about it. What happened in that game? You're talking about a game that. Are we gonna bring up Keontez Lewis that he threw him into the wall? Is that where we're going at? He got hurt because of Michael. I'm not going there with that. Did he lead it a little much? Sure.
Yeah, not talking about that.
Shouldn't be there. That it should have been padded up before that. Whatever. But the point is, he had one bad series and that throw. He also led them on 5 straight scoring drives. We haven't seen that in any game from any quarterback in a long fucking time. And I know that Kent State's not good. Beatonbow even said they have an NFL guy at the edge, and they were running a stunt that he'd never seen, and it was that line's fault that they got him moving, getting a little happy feet. The point I'm trying to make is I'm not going to sit here and say that Michael isn't good because of one fucking game. And they won it going away.
I will say this. He has yet to show any reason to where anybody would say he's going to be better than John Mateer. He's not shown it.
I would tell you that the Tennessee game, he showed it last year, and in the Auburn game, he showed it too. And he was 21 of 30 against Texas. That was a terrible game plan that they didn't get anything going. And then I would say the same about South Carolina. When you have Bauer Sharp blocking All-Americans on his own, it's trouble. It's trouble. Did he have a bad game there? Yeah, he did. You can blame part of it on him if you want to. I'm going to say the All-American guys up his ass because Bauer Sharp couldn't block him is part of it.
But I'm not even going to bring last year into it because that's a true freshman in that year.
About one fucking game then. One game. One opportunity.
If it was Kentucky, I would say, yeah, maybe let's not talk. But it was Kent State. It was, some of the stuff that he was showing.
What was bad against him? What was bad? What was so bad? You said dog shit. He led them on 5 straight scoring drives. Where was the dog shit at? Where? No turnovers.
Yes. He threw the ball from some of the most oddest angles and was doing some of the weirdest shit that I've ever. He did not do that at all last year. Did not. He did not show me anything. Do I say that he has not gotten an opportunity? Sure. I don't think that he's gotten an opportunity. I also don't think that he's out there lighting it up in practice and they're like, let's ignore that. It's John Mateer. That's not happening. And I think that if they go into the spring.
Here's what I think about that. I think that it doesn't matter. I don't think that there's a real competition going on either way. I don't know how many reps he gets in practice. I don't think it's a ton. Everything we heard in the spring and in the fall was that he looks fantastic, and then all of a sudden he never plays. And the bottom line is that, you know what? The only thing I'm going to say about it is if you could have played him in the Texas game just to get Mateer healthy. You could have played him in that one and the South Carolina game. Maybe it ends up being the same thing. They lose one, win one. Okay, cool. Then they're still in the better position for Mateer being healthier and not coming back playing as badly as he's played at times from being hurt. Maybe you get him healthy there. I think that in and of itself shows you that it's not going to ever, to me, it's not a real competition. So I think it's a real convenient thing to say that if he was good, he'd be playing. If he was good enough, he'd be playing, because I don't buy that. I think it's convenient because, we don't know. We're not out there. but they're not
I
gonna let
mean,
you know.
I
And
would say
they would
you
never
you
say, I
he
mean, you didn't hear Brent and Arbuckle saying, "Oh yeah, we were getting ready to pull him out of the LSU game." I think that they probably were getting ready to pull him out of the LSU game if it didn't get better soon. Maybe they weren't, but you can't. I mean, they're never going to say that when they ended up winning the game. You're never going to say that.
well, again, you're leaning over towards there's a hope. There's always hope for this backup quarterback. And still he was 14 of 24 against Kent State. I mean, it's not like he was 14 of 19 or 14 of 18 or anything like that.
Yeah,
He was 14
that
of
that
24.
one series
That
was
was
not
his
good at all. You're right.
that was his opportunity to come out and make a statement for himself. Now, he is a sophomore. He's a true sophomore and he's preserving his red shirt. My thing is if you bring them out into the spring and you say, all right, this is an open competition, does Jean Mateer have the leg up on it? Yes. I'm not going to, that'd be stupid for me to say, no, it's a 50-50 from the get. Like, I don't think that's going to be the case. But I also know that the guy is a phenomenal athlete. I mean, obviously, he's a much, much better runner than John is. He would open up the offense, and with a better offensive line, a lot of that stuff would be better for him, to be able to go out there and run around. But I also
That's
think
the
with a
only
lot
point
better
I'm
run
trying to make
blocking.
too is that a lot of things a lot of things being equal is one thing. They were playing a bad team, whatever, but the line wasn't good that day. Bill Bedenbaugh talks about it. We failed him tremendously. He said it, on that coaches show that they do all the time. I mean, okay. In the end, am I saying that he's definitely out there and that he's definitely the answer? I don't know because I haven't seen him. We haven't got to see him enough, and I'd love to see him more. The only point I'm making is if Mateer's so we've seen him not be good, even in wins, and like we're still trotting him out there. The length of rope that it seems to get for one versus the others, and that the question I was asking more than anything else. I'm assuming that maybe Michael doesn't stay because I don't think that they believe by any stretch of the imagination that they're going to really get a chance to win the job. I don't think they do.
I think this is if his red shirt is intact. So he would be coming up as a red shirt sophomore next year.
Yeah.
That gives him, red shirt junior, red shirt senior to play. And I think because I don't think that with what we saw after Jackson Arnold, I don't think that. So let's go with 26. I think Mateer is going to be the starting quarterback. And I think that in 27, you're still selling like, look at how young and everything is. And, you've got that opportunity because if Michael Hawkins goes somewhere else, I would like to see him go to I guess he can't go to the SEC, but I'd like to see him go to somewhere and play if he does leave. But if he goes somewhere and he sits on the bench, I think it's a massive mistake because
Oh,
it's
no,
going to be
no,
his
and I don't
car in
think
the
his
27.
dad's not gonna do that. He's not gonna send him out of here to not go start, right?
Well,
I
his
wouldn't
dad
either.
may do that, but I mean that's still on the coaches. It's still on the coaches, and
Yeah.
right now I think that I really do believe outside of Satania, we are really, really weak at the skill position. I think we're really weak at skill position outside of Satania. Um, I
What's the
think you
stuff
got
you're
to. I
hearing
mean,
about, have you heard anything about Elijah Thomas and why he's not playing? Getting any
no,
chance to play?
and no, because I mean, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do in practice, you're not going to make the field. And we've seen Carrion come on. We've seen, Carter come in and do some stuff. We've seen a lot of different guys come in other than the
Mm.
main three. But I do believe that I love Deion Burks. I think that he is what he is. Um, I'll be excited to see somebody else get that opportunity next year because with both Hawkins, guys like Elijah Thomas, the promise that I've kind of made to myself going into next year is I don't give a shit what is said in practice reports. I'm not getting hyped up about any damn one single person. If somebody comes in and says, "Oh my God, Jake Kroll has been absolutely just blowing shit up in practice," I will say, "I don't believe you. I'm not it." And Jake in here, Jake, him and I had a nice little argument about Hawkins too. Is I want to see it first before I start getting hyped, because if something happens, Mateer leaves after this year and they hand the ball over to Hawkins, I am going to be on a show me mentality.
Listen, I
And
don't care who. I don't. I want to say this. I want every position to be won. It's how all championship
I
teams
agree with
work.
that.
Win the
I
job.
agree with that.
I don't give a shit who we're talking about. They shouldn't have
Well,
handed
you,
it to Mateer. They should have made them. It should have been an actual competition. It was never going to be one.
I mean, can we
I
say
understood why. I mean, obviously they brought and paid him a lot of money to come, but that hasn't worked out well. This not winning the job. I mean, Jackson didn't win it from Dylan. Dylan left.
that's true? I mean, that's true. And then you even say, look at the Quinn Ewers Arch Manning piece. Do I believe that Quinn Ewers was a better quarterback than Arch? Still at this point, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so
I
too.
still believe it at this point, yes, because if
Yeah.
he got injured,
I think the Arch is starting to look like he's going to be the better player, but he wasn't there yet.
no, not
And
yet.
against the best teams, he hasn't been. I mean,
And that's where I'll argue with Texas fans. Like
yep.
you got a sham win against OU. It just is what it is. Texas has the upper hand over OU right now. It is what it is, but it was a sham win. Texas A&M, nobody believes in. Those were your two big opportunities to go out and do that. All that being said, I think that the trust in the offense and the leadership of John Mateer is why he stayed in this year. And I think you open up a really big can of worms trying to, pull. I mean, if you pull Mateer after the third interception against LSU, that's not what you want going into the playoffs. And even if you come back and win,
I get that, but I feel like you have to pull out all the stops to try to win the game, because you don't get to the playoff if you don't.
yeah, but I think your goal is not just to get to the
Thankfully,
playoff, and I think that's
he hit those throws. Don't get me wrong. Thankfully, he hit the throws.
yeah.
You
And
know?
I will say this: I think that the knee injury has been very, very overshadowed with Mateer because of the hand. But he had a what looked like a towel wrapped around his knee at the beginning of the Auburn game before the hand injury.
Yeah, I
And
know.
so we'll
Yeah,
see. We'll see what
he
happens.
got
Now,
popped a couple of times in that game. I mean, the Auburn
you
game.
you you have to be better. John Mateer has to be better. The quarterback position has to be better. The
Decision
offensive line
making is
has to be
where I'm
better.
at on it. Decision making, man.
And
Make the read. Do the right. Count to 6 for fuck's sake. On the.
well,
I mean,
I
be
then
able
I
to
would then I would point back towards Arbuckle too, and I would say, how many weeks in a row have we been banging our heads into this RPO BS? Let's go away from it. If you want them to run, run them.
make a decision and let him
Yes.
just know what to do.
Listen, I mean, if I'm coaching somebody, coaching my daughter's soccer team, if I got a girl who can't make a corner kick, go into the play and keeps on kicking it to the back of the net, the wrong side of the back of the net, it's on me to keep putting her back there. Nobody should be yelling at the girl. It's on me, the coach. And I think that that's one of the things where I'm starting to hear that there's been, where Brent has gone to more of a, it is what it is type of situation. Like, we're going to call run plays, we're going to call pass plays, because I think it's going to help John. I think it's going to help the offensive line. I think it's going to help the running backs, because both of our running backs are one cut go guys. Torrey, if he gets some space, he's going to juice. X-Rob, if he gets a smaller space, you're not arm tackling him.
Nope.
And I think that will help out absolutely everything. And you do that, you do enough. Like, it kind of is what it is at this point with John and with this offense. I'm hoping that some of this, you change a couple things. You're going to give Alabama a different look. Alabama's going to come in and they're going to expect the offense to look what they saw a few weeks ago. Alabama's defense is banged up too. They got the what's his name? The linebacker Justin Jefferson. Don't know if how healthy he's going to be playing. He caused a lot of havoc. Got to say that Fasusi didn't have a terrific game against Alabama. Go out there. This is at your house. Come off the ball. Let's go crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, listen, I'm with you. I think,
But again, if I
obviously
see
the
what you're
defense
saying,
is this a defensive led team, but all I'm saying is I would hope going into next season that
if
if,
Hawkins is here, yeah,
I don't care who's here, just win. There has to be a competition for the job. It can't just be handed over to
I
anybody.
would say I would say that obviously I don't believe that after they finish the season this year, there's going to be, hey guys, this is going to be an open competition. I don't think that that's going to happen. I think that you're going to have to go out and do the best with your snaps. And hopefully, I mean, we just had the schedule up for so long. You've got UTEP up there. Like
Yeah.
what we have yet to see in quite a long ass time has been you go out, you beat the shit out of these teams up front. Now, Illinois State, a brand new team, brand new everything. That team just took down South Dakota State. That's a good team.
Yeah,
Um,
they're in the toughest conference in FCS.
yes, but with John early, we didn't put teams away. Now a lot of that because we couldn't run the damn football, and you had to leave John in there to do more.
Yeah.
And I think that's where that the knee got
Well,
bunged
and he
up
didn't
for.
hit his passes even then. I mean, there was times that he was missing throws that you need to make that would have been explosive plays. I think part of that is the early part of the year, whatever. But I also think that we saw it him being, heady. He's out there playing hard and trusting himself, all that other stuff. That's all well and good until you get hurt, and all you have is the hero ball. That's a problem, right? If that's what we have. In the end, I just want to see the best guy out there, man. But I think that right now, in the end, and I wasn't trying to get off on this tangent, really, to be honest with you. Talking about next year, what are you going to see? I think that a lot of it will depend on what do we look like offensively. But this team right now, I think that you've seen it kind of work into a situation where, look, this defense is so good, and they ended up in a place where they've got a lot of momentum, a lot of trust in each other. They believe in this grimy way of going about it. Never know how this is going to turn out. I think they could win if they can run the ball well and not turn it over. I think that we just talked about. I think that you can do it with this defense and the way that you're doing things. Now, a lot of things are going to have to go your way, but the truth of the matter is, you got the easier side of the bracket. No two ways
Well,
around.
and you're not going to be facing. Let's go ahead and say it's about time that we quit calling Alabama Alabama with the accent of Nick Saban.
True
That
that.
they're not. It's not the
They're not
same
Nick
team
Saban's
anymore.
Alabama for sure.
No,
I still think that Kalen DeBoer is one of the better coaches in the country, but that being said,
I
it's not the same Alabama. You're right.
it's not the same Alabama. This is
Yeah.
this is a
Yeah,
team.
yeah.
Now, now, and again, we're talking as fans here. This team, I promise you, the players, the coaches, everything, they're not like we just whooped their ass twice in a row. We're good. Like that's not what we're gonna. I mean, that's not how the team is facing it. But I do think that you're facing an Alabama team where Simpson is hurt.
Yeah.
They can't run the football to save their lives. Their receivers, who are supposed to be the big play guys, are unreliable. Ryan Williams might be one of the most overrated players in college football. He is great once he has the
A
ball,
lot of
but
drops this year, a lot of drops. I think they're using him. I don't like him in the slot very much. I think he's got to be on the outside all the time, and that's not where they've been putting him.
he's
Kind of weird.
he had highlight plays, and it's almost I would rather a receive. I mean, shit, I'd rather a receiver that was just always a gamer, like a Drake Stoops. I'd rather have a Drake Stoops than a Ryan Williams. Somebody that I know what I'm getting day in and day out.
Mhm.
And their defense, they're going to have some guys who are banged up too on defense. So you have where I guess where I was going with this
He
is
should win. He should win.
you're not getting a full strength Alabama, you're not getting a full strength Indiana. So
You're
if
at
you
home, you
go
should
out there
win.
and yeah, and if you go and Indiana's not going to be excited about driving out to freaking Pasadena.
They're gonna be excited. It's the Rose Bowl. That's something that they don't know nothing about, and they've been the Big Ten team forever. But that may be the wrong kind of excitement, right? It may
Yeah,
be
that's what I'm saying. You're hey, look, we're here, we're here, we're here.
nerves. Nerves are kicking in. Yeah, first
But you're going all the way out there. You know right from the get-go that how does Signetti approach Oklahoma if that happens? Because did Signetti get really what's the word I'm looking for? He went up against the Ohio State defense with a lot of reservation. And I think that reservation got
'cause they
elevated.
smacked them last year, and I don't think it's the same defense, by the way. They
Oh
hadn't played
no.
anybody either. You know what I
No,
mean? So,
no. That's why I said I'm still not on the Big Ten. But does he come into Oklahoma with that same type of reservation and go,
I think you would. You would have to,
all
right?
right. Yeah. And because you don't want, I mean, the last thing you want is Mendoza to get another hit like that because you know he's going to get hit early and often. And it's going to keep
I think that's
coming
the first
because the
thing the BB
depth.
dials up if they get him. We're gonna go hit his ass right now. First series, knock the shit out of him.
Yeah. And I do like their big receiver. The guy that I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but old Excite Bike from Fox commentating. He was,
Oh, yeah, he's a stud.
kept
Man, if you hadn't said you don't remember his name, it would've popped right in my I've watched him quite a bit. I keep trying to find what is it that there is to like about this team. I
Charlie
think they
Becker.
play well together. Oh, yeah, there you go. They play well together, right? I think they're a smart team. He's a good coach. They're well coached. They've kinda bought into whatever that is. They've got a lot of experience together because a lot of these guys were with him at JMU. This is
Yeah.
again, JMU.
And guys, we're talking about this because we don't have a damn bit to do with the game. Like obviously, like yes, the coach speak is you got to go beat Alabama first, but looking, I'm pretty sure that
Hey,
me
man,
and
we're not
Jason,
coaching them. We're not coaching. We can talk
yeah,
about whatever the fuck we want.
me and Jason aren't going to have anything to do with it. If they lose to Alabama, it's not because we talked about it on the podcast, but
Hey, you ain't
but
blaming me on it, boys. No,
the
I hope they win
they,
the game.
their running backs are like two Tolly Walkers. They're just two
By the way,
hammers.
it's what I was saying earlier. I said whoever wins that game, I believe, will beat Indiana. I've said this
Yeah.
multiple times. I think you said the same thing too. I think whoever wins this game beats Indiana. That's what we're talking about. But the point we're trying to make is that Oklahoma has it set up to where the path is clear for you to get into a championship game situation. Clearer than it would be if you were playing on the other side of the bracket, and you have the best defense in the country that should keep you in the game against anyone, no matter what. I don't see why you can adjust your expectations at this point. Now, the expectations for offense, I don't have a ton. I hope that they do more. Just get to 24. I think you should win every game. And I don't know how much that is to ask. Maybe it's too much. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be.
Well,
offensive line's done a great job the latter half of the year. I think they've been much better.
Well, they've been really good at pass protection. Like that's John Mateer also for all of his faults. Man, I was listening to the stat guy or whatever. Like he has 0 sacks that are credited to him. So like there's not all sacks are created equal. Sometimes your guy just gets blown off the line.
Sure.
Like guys like Jackson Arnold who are responsible for a lot of his sacks. So John Mateer has none. And I think that his pressure rate was something like 1%. So like he does a pretty good job of, eluding pressure. But like you were saying, it's the decision making. It's like if John Mateer stands in the pocket and gets drilled, delivers a deep ball for a touchdown against Alabama, I'm going to be very, very excited. I also know that Alabama is going to be facing a different OU team. Like they really are. It's going to be a healthier team. I know Alabama got some rest too, but it's going to be a healthier OU team. So you go out and you try to play a game like you did last year, to where you control, you run the clock, you put yourself in good positions. Like I said, it comes down to, when you get your opportunity, you take advantage of it. Do not get given a short field and then do some stupid play calling and go 3 and out. Like, I don't want to see that. You take advantage of every opportunity, and that's the only way to shut people up.
True. No doubt. You got to go out there and handle business. And I think that no matter what year we're talking about, they know what they're supposed to do. It's a home game. I don't care if it's Alabama or not. They don't have any fear of Alabama. We talked about that before the last game. The last time they played Bama, I was talking about that. I don't think they fear them. Boganowski and Dent have said they didn't fear them. There's a difference in this. The physicality is definitely favors OU. Go play physical football. Win the game.
And like, the last thing I'll say is, I've heard a lot of people like, yeah, but you can't rely on these turnovers and these scoring on the defense. Listen, after 6 fucking straight weeks, you can. Like, this is who this team is. They create chaos.
Well, the defense. Now, as far as like scoring on defense, they only did that.
You're not gonna. Yeah, right? You can't count on that. But
you gotta have some points, bro. You gotta have some points.
Yeah. But I'm saying,
but stop.
You go out and do 24 points on offense. There's a good chance you can win this game scoring 31 total.
Again, I'll say this: Ohio State and Indiana just went out and had a 13-10 game. You could win. You can win without scoring.
I don't care.
In the 30s.
As long as you got one more tick than the other team, that's all I care about.
That's it. And
I'm not going to complain about ugly wins.
No. And I listen, there's a part of me that thinks that Venables fucking loves this shit.
No, he does love this. I promise you. He sees these scores against Missouri and LSU, and he says, that's it.
Oh yeah, he's got
because I do think that he believes that the offense is going to get enough opportunities that they're going to eventually crack through. You saw it against Missouri, you saw it against LSU, and you can. That's hard to ask defenses that, if your defense is as good as Oklahoma, you can do this. You can say, like, our defense is going to give the offense enough cracks, and we're going to put
how really good they've been too, right? How really good they've been. And literally in the second half of the year, look, they gave up a lot of yards, and they gave up some points to Alabama. They gave up a lot of yards. People were like, we got doubled up in yardage. So?
Yeah, I don't.
We also, 3-0 in turnovers.
Yeah, it's...
whatever
formula
that
gives
matters.
you,
that matters as much as the rest of them. In fact, it matters more
because against them, I say it again, against them, against Tennessee, we're going to allow you to play the ball, and even Ole Miss, even though we lost that game, you're going to get your yards. Eventually, you're going to make a mistake, and we're going to take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can have your yards.
They win that game too. If Sategna doesn't fumble that punt,
I still believe that too.
Mm-hmm. The momentum was squarely in favor of Oklahoma by then.
It's the only game that I'm frustrated with.
The momentum's real though. It swings back like that, it can hurt you. You know what I mean?
And Lane Kiffin, I always bring that out, and we can end on this, but like, if OU beats, and I'm happy where they're at. If OU beats Ole Miss and ends up 11-1 right now, was the chase for Lane Kiffin as ballyhooed? And would it be worse for OU?
Good question.
Because OU then would have had to limp into the SEC championship game and then had to play the SEC championship game. Like, I think this worked. As much as I don't like losing a game at all, I would rather be 10-2 and not have to play.
Yeah, I think they got to just go ahead and get rid of the SEC championship game. I think
It's
that
just it's unnecessary.
again, Georgia
gotta do
didn't
it all.
move up. Georgia didn't move up, and Bama didn't move down. Why play it?
I guess because if you have a Big 12, an ACC,
Same
a
money.
Big 10,
Same money. It's okay. It's okay.
it's 16. You get to the 16, you break
game.
out the championship games. You get to 16.
Mhm.
Listen, as much as I
like the playing 1 and 2 are in already. You get 3, 6, 4, 5 for the other two. I love that idea. Take that out of the hands of the committee. I love that idea. Now, you're going to have to get the idiots at the Big 12 and ACC to agree to it. And they, after Yormark gaslit them into, well, if we accept second-hand status or second, that whole line of his, if you
Jason, do you remember what I called them after we left? Do you remember what I called the Big 12?
Yes, I do.
I called them the Bless Your Heart Conference.
Bless your heart.
It's still the same way. This Texas Tech team, and so I said this to Jay.
Tech is smoke and mirrors a lot too right now. I think they're very good in places. I think their linebacker core is pretty good. I think that their defense is good up front. It's not that deep, and they haven't really had to play anybody to really prove how good they are either.
No,
aside from BYU.
And can we be honest? Homeboy was not he had quite the hitch in his giddy up in that Big 12 championship game.
Oh yeah, Bear.
Bachmeier. Yeah, that was not the same quarterback.
No, so, and he's a freshman anyway. You get him in a situation, they started pressing. Yeah.
Yeah, and you get outside of your game plan. But I will say, do you think it's so funny because when we were coming out of the Big 12 with all these high-flying offenses and the SEC people would just talk about how they are just going to smoke OU. And we thought, man, but now seeing Tech, and I'm like, oh, that's what they meant. Because even though Tech is doing it more with defense, like I still like Baron Morton. He's at the top of the quarterbacks I'd like to see in the playoff.
Hell yeah. He's thrown many an interception in his time there.
I mean, I don't know.
Interception at that.
I'm just going to look at this real quick because I want to say that, and I'm not counting Tulane or James Madison.
Okay.
He's probably number one on the quarterbacks I'd like to see in the playoff. Because you got Moore at Oregon, Baron Morton, Ty Simpson, Mendoza, Chambliss, Carson Beck's probably number 2, Marcel Reed, Julian Sayin, Gunnar Stockton. Is there a quarterback you'd rather see more than Baron Morton?
I mean, honestly, I mean, a freshman like Julian Sayin, I think you could probably get him rattled because he hasn't been really rattled yet this year because they haven't. You know what I mean? They put up 10 points.
Yeah,
last week, and so again, and then the same with again. Shout out to Indiana and what they've done. Good for them. It's whatever. I don't think Mendoza's that good either. I just don't. I think they were trying to push that Heisman narrative from minute 1 of that game, and they pushed it all the way to the end, and neither one of them looked great.
No.
But yeah, I think, Baron Morton. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't want to see Chambliss. I think Gunnar Stockton's a dog. And I know that they're going to play they're going to be committed to the run, and they're going to make sure that he's not in a bad position. They're not going to put him in a bad position, right? So, yeah, I think that Barron would be one of them, but those other two guys as well. I mean, Marcel Reed, I think Marcel Reed, you could get him in trouble too. But yeah, I think you're right there.
Ohio State, the 3 toughest defenses that they've played, Texas, Michigan, and Indiana.
Sure.
They scored 14, 27, and 10. So
the 27 was not really all on them either. On the offense,
because there was turnovers.
Michigan made some mistakes. Yeah. Because Michigan had their chances to win again. They had their chances.
Yeah. Underwood threw for 63 yards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. When it started snowing, it turned shitty on them real bad. But I wasn't overly impressed with Ohio State either in that game. So
no, you knew once it was 17 to, I think it was 17-6, like game was over.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, what are they going to do? They did look. Justice Haynes wasn't playing anymore. They hadn't been throwing the ball great already to begin with, but I also think that Sherrone really wasn't turning him loose either. But that being said, they didn't have weapons for him to turn loose on. I don't know.
Sherrone was a little preoccupied.
Apparently Sherrone was a little preoccupied. Yes. Nice call there, Sergeant. Sherrone, yeah, hey, listen. Only thing I'm going to say about that is yuck. Yikes and yuck. Terrible situation. I hate it that he's an Oklahoma guy and that this is going on. I hate it more that it's just an ugly situation. And here's my question. Were they waiting? Was it about wins and losses that they did this? I mean, they want to fire him, but at 9-3, you need to throw this out there. You know what I mean? They had a chance to be in the playoff all the way down to the last game. That I heard David Cohn talking about it on Crane and Company, and he was like, the only time I was hearing about it, I heard about it after they lost to Oklahoma. I heard about it after they lost to SC.
And yeah, our circle has heard about it several weeks ago.
Right, I heard about it about a month ago, yeah.
And so I think that yes, there were
real and how much of it wasn't, but I heard something was going on there.
Well, there's a dude who did a podcast in like September, and he's talking about it, and it says Sherrone Moore has a type, because we're only hearing about this bird. There was more than one.
This isn't the first time. No. They were talking about it before with the last guy that they had to fire for that kind of shit.
Yeah. So I would say Sherrone didn't do himself any favors. Like it's real. All that stuff happened.
Sure.
But yeah, it's just not good. I mean, it's just not good at all.
Yeah, and it's a shame.
And I do think that Sherrone had Sherrone gave them their reason. I think they wanted Sherrone gone. I'm surprised that as many people knew about this, they waited so long after all this head coaching stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's so, somebody asked way earlier in the chat, and I mean, it's 2.5 hours ago. But is the Kalen DeBoer to Michigan, is that a real thing? The Michigan guy that I know says that there's nothing, this is not something that they had set up with DeBoer already. Like, they will be speaking to him. They will be talking to him. They've probably already reached out to his agents and everything like that. And they're going to offer him this job. That is going to be a real thing. And that's why I say that I still think that the potential coaching shuffle is going to,
the carousel can get spinning again right now. It can start spinning again. And it's already spinning a little bit, but think about like Jed Fish. You're already hearing people saying they don't want Jed Fish. I don't know why you wouldn't want Jed Fish, but okay. I mean, he's been there. He did well there.
Yeah.
It's the same way that Florida acted about him too. It was pretty weird, really. But there's coaches out there that if they leave and take that job, I mean, if Lincoln was to leave SC, that's a huge opening.
Jay, let me ask you something.
That would be wild if they did such a thing.
No. Here, listen to this. I don't think Lincoln wants to go live in the winter. So what about this little shuffle? You ready for this one?
I'm ready. Come on.
So you get DeBoer. He leaves from Alabama, goes to Michigan.
Okay.
Michigan's not a better job than Alabama. Yeah, Michigan's not a better job than Alabama, but that he's more of that's his location. That's where he's from, that area of the country.
Okay.
Also, I'm guessing that
would Alabama fans be unhappy? Probably not.
No, a lot of Alabama fans would like to see that happen. They don't like Grubb either. So he leaves. Then you have a situation where I think that Sark leaves Texas either for the NFL or for Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lincoln Riley to Texas.
What?
Jason. Lincoln Riley, we all thought he didn't want the SEC smoke. He signs the #1 class. Lincoln Riley to Texas would be hate fuel for Sooner fans. That would never go out. And listen, Sark and Lincoln, not too dissimilar. Imagine us lining up against Lincoln Riley and Texas Longhorns.
Closing my eyes thinking, no way. You really think that would happen?
He wanted the Florida job. Lincoln Riley put his name in there for the Florida job.
I heard that. And they were high on him too, by the way. And I kept telling Shelton and the high top guys, you don't want that. It's not what you want. I think Florida struck out and hit a home run in the same damn at bat.
I think Penn State did too.
Absolutely. Did you hear about how that supposedly went down? That Matt changed agents. They'd called the old agent at the very start. He never says anything to Matt about it. They call him back after, check him back. He's like, I'm no longer his agent. Then they finally get a hold of him. That's what starts it. That's the story anyway.
Hey, and I know that you guys are flipping out here, but this wasn't my idea. This was definitely not my idea. And Lincoln did want his name in the ring for Florida, and it wasn't to get a pay raise from USC. He wants
to get away from USC because he's not recruiting California very well. He got the #1 class. But is it not because he got like 40 dudes instead of that he got the best guys?
Listen, he got some good guys. But I will also say this.
Didn't he get 40 of them though?
Lincoln and Sark are pretty much the same person. And Sark's an offensive guy. You keep Kwiatkowski there down in Texas. You retain pretty much everything. I think that there's some other stuff with Sark that I think, there's a lot of rumors.
Taking the Miami job then, or like Alabama? Oh, he would take Alabama because DeBoer goes to Michigan in this scenario of yours.
It could be. I said either Alabama or, because I don't know if Sark were to leave, and again, there's enough smoke out there to say that this is a realistic conversation. If Sark were to leave, who are they going after? I mean, since Mac Brown, it hasn't been a Texas guy. Dan Lanning? You think Dan Lanning to Texas would be a...
I think he would take either of those jobs. I think in Alabama, I think he's high on their list if they were to change coaches right now. I'm not sure why, but he is. Because I don't particularly see Dan Lanning as a great coach.
He's still yet to do anything. And last year was his...
He won the Big Ten. He did win the Big Ten.
But I mean, winning a
You're right.
conference, I
Then they got blown out in the Rose Bowl, so yeah, you're right.
but I listen. Like I said, I did not create the scenario. I did not come up with it just now. It was something where somebody who actually has some intelligence said, "Just watch." So
Hey, yeah, the carousel is going to spin, brother. It's going to spin, no doubt about it.
because if DeBoer leaves for Alabama, I mean leaves Alabama, I mean I still say you got a lot of names up there that I don't think that anybody is off the block, and that includes Lane Kiffin. Is it unlikely? Sure.
I think Lane's. I don't see Lane, but maybe you're right. You could be right. Nothing would surprise me these days, to be honest with you.
I just, if for Alabama, if it's not
Oh, you busted. You got all crusty, all pissed off in here. Oh, buddy, it's okay. He's another Texas fan. He was not enjoying your little.
No, I listen, and I know there's a lot of rumors and stuff about Sark out there with stuff, and I think a lot of them are absolute horseshit. There is some stuff with Sark going on, and
There's not this much smoke and no fire ever. And I'm going to say, these reporters know what they're fucking talking. The one that brought it up, she actually knows the one that he was bitching about from ESPN.
Wasn't it Heather Dinich?
No, it wasn't Heather.
Was it not?
Oh, maybe it was. Whoever it was. No, it was Diana Rossini.
Rossini, that's right.
Yeah.
She's not a podcaster. She if she's saying something, she has something.
She's a real reporter. Diana Rossini's a real reporter that works for ESPN, but she's a reporter, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? It's not like it's in all of that diatribe of horseshit that he said at the podium that day. He never said that he wasn't considering anything, that he wasn't leaving. He never said that. Never. He bitched about where it was coming from. He never said he wasn't a candidate or wasn't leaving. Never.
Now, I will say this. There's a lot of these coaches.
A lot has come since then, by the way. Since then, right?
There's a lot of coaches who have conversations around, with their agents and stuff like that. And some of that stuff will get out. There's a lot of NDAs that are signed. But I can promise you this is it's not ever nothing. Like, do I think Bob Stoops' name every single time a coaching job came open, Bob Stoops' name was out there? If you don't believe that Bob Stoops' agent had a conversation or two at some point while he was at Oklahoma with other your head's in the sand.
Come on, man. Like, everybody wanted to hire him for all that time. Of course.
And it's the same thing. When you have success, your name gets thrown out for bigger opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the only thing I can say that I don't see happening, I don't think Urban Meyer ever comes back to coaching, and I don't think Saban comes out. I think Saban's pretty comfortable where he's at because he hates the transfer portal.
I mean, there's nothing left for you to do if you're Saban. Urban. It wouldn't surprise me if Urban did it just because it's Urban and he's kind of, I mean,
ego. He's got an ego.
Yeah. It is weird, right? The shit that he says on television and on this podcast, it's like there's a lot of weird shit that comes out of Urban. It would not surprise me, just to show you that he could still do it. Now, do I think that would work out for him? I do not.
I think the game is now. Listen, Urban is a great coach. Mm-hmm. I think that the game has changed a little bit more.
Yeah, and the NIL is not for him. I don't think. I think just like it wasn't really for Nick Saban. He likes to lead with the iron fist and be able to stack guys and be able to berate them the way that you know how he is about it. He was awful to players. I think that works sometimes, but it wasn't like with Saban where he's loving on you too. as much. You know what I mean? I think Urban was a detestable, unhappy person the entire season, all the time,
Yeah.
right?
And I also think that with so many of these scandal situations happening, I don't think a major university would say,
Oh no,
let's risk it. Let's risk it."
look, Florida. I know he had some health issues. That's what there was more shit to it than that. The Aaron Hernandez stuff and all that was starting to pop up. There was a lot of shit going on at Florida when he left, and he left. He left Ohio State because there was about to be some real trouble there.
Yes.
So, and then he goes to Jacksonville, and look what happened there. Yeah, he's a fucking slimy bastard, dude.
No.
Slimy. So yeah,
Yeah. Was he?
Mhm.
Yeah. He was a great coach, but I
It
just
can't be who
where
you're
where
after if you're Michigan trying to clean up a mess right now.
oh shit, no. You ugh, no, no. And I'm not saying that he's up for this. I'm just saying that if you got like an Alabama or a Texas that were to open up, the there's going to be at some point there's going to be curious moves. And I think that's the way that the Texas boosters would convince themselves, hey, it worked for Sark here. We can retain Kwiatkowski. We can get Lincoln in here. People will be excited about the offenses. I mean, his offenses are working in at USC, and now we'll have the defense. And
Well, they have
what
better
if we give
resources than what they I mean, they have a better cupboard than what they had at SC when he got there, right?
and you know what? It's kind of crazy because if you're
Not
Lincoln
the
right
landing
now,
zone for him. I get that makes sense. Yeah.
and if you're Lincoln right now, I mean, how bright is your star?
It's not. It gets
Like you
worse. It
so
evens out. Now, they went 9-3 this year, so there's renewed belief.
hope.
Not a ton of it though. It's still kind of, I don't know. You know what I mean? USCJ loves on him all the time. I love USCJ, but he's a homer, you know. But again, their recruiting class is high mostly because they got 40 dudes. They've got some good guys, don't get me wrong, but he's still struggling in the state,
He is, and it sure as hell isn't
which
getting
that's not
better.
new either. You know, I mean, he's the reason that Okie Light got good at the end of the time he was there because they were getting all the good Oklahoma kids because he wasn't recruiting them.
Yeah, so he had 35 recruits. But I also go back to
It's
the
a lot of
Spencer
fucking
Rattler.
recruits. Huh? Go ahead.
I also go back to the Spencer Rattler, Jaden Hazelwood, Trajan Bridges, Mikey Henderson. Like that was his best group here. And it didn't, I
None of
mean, it
them
didn't
worked out.
pan out. I mean,
Yeah.
and then, you know who else? And Stevie just brought it up. Thank you, you son of a bitch. But Stacy Ford is doing things in California, and he is getting the guys, between him and Nagy going through evaluating and seeing, is
Stacy's
this
my
a
guy,
guy?
dude. He's killing
He
it,
is
right?
he is crushing it. And
Mhm.
I would say Sooner fans, if you don't know who Stacy Ford is, get to know who he is.
Dude, he's a
And
baller.
also don't be, I mean, I think that guy probably has him a GM job in the next 2 to 3 years.
Mhm.
So we got to use him while we can.
Awesome recruiter, man. Awesome job. And look, again, I would say this too, just we know for one thing that they weren't having really an issue recruiting. It wasn't a problem. They've recruited well. They've portaled well for the most part. I know the J Knott thing notwithstanding. I get it. Tight end
And
has been a struggle.
I will say this for the J Knott thing. We don't have to get into it. That has nothing to do with Nagy. That has nothing to do with our coaching staff. That
Huh.
is that guy.
For anybody.
That happened between his ears, and once he got rung in the spring, he just couldn't do it. And I mean,
Big boy football,
you
here
look
you
at
go. Yeah.
yeah,
I
you
mean,
look at David Carr. Look at David
you have
Carr.
the taste for it. Yeah.
You eventually get your shit hit too many times, and you're gonna flinch.
Yeah.
You're gonna become hesitant, and he was going, and he knew that. Trust me, you got to go out there and practice. That means you got to go out there and run into that linebacker core and that defensive lineman. And how many times this year have you seen offensive players walk off the field against OU? I mean, it's almost every game with
Mhm.
multiples.
Oh, yeah.
Like this defense is
The
mean, and this
physicality is something to see, man. It's something to see. It's something we haven't seen in a long time too.
and I wish I could go talk to myself in 2020 and say, "Hey, let me tell you something," because I don't think I'd have believed it.
Yeah, I think 2021, I saw it coming. I don't know that I saw it coming after Red River. After Red River, you could see it coming because of how standoffish Lincoln was, even about replacing. He was still acting like he wasn't going to play Caleb, even after what we just saw at Red River, right? And everybody was like, "Fuck you, you're playing him." You know what I mean? It's like it was like, dude, shut up. Like, but he was such an asshole that whole year, and he was off his game, and then when he came back, when he missed his media availability because he was sick or somebody was sick, and then they knew he'd been off somewhere. They thought it was LSU or whatever, apparently, wherever it may have been. But he says, guys, I, I'm the coach of the Oklahoma Sooners. And I was like, until you're not, what kind of fucking answer is that? They knew you were gone. You didn't answer that at all. And OU media didn't do a very good job of holding his feet to the fire on that shit either. And I knew. I was like, oh shit. He's gone. I
Well,
said that day, but you could see it coming already, right? That day I knew for sure he's out. He's way gone.
I just meant more along the lines of,
But would
go
you
to
have believed in
2020.
2020? No. Oh no.
Yeah, the defense, like what this was going to be. I mean,
Oh.
hell, even
With Ronnie Perkins and those guys, you're thinking, okay, well, they got something going here.
I mean, you had Nick Bonito, Isaiah Thomas,
Nick.
and I
Yeah.
thought that was about as good as it can get here.
Holy shit, man. I know. Well, because of what we hadn't seen in so long, right? At this point.
Yeah. And I mean, you still got to think like Nick Bonito, nobody saw that
What
coming,
a fucking
like what
stud
he
he
is
is.
in the NFL.
Shit.
Perion Winfrey, I think that he would be a phenomenal player in the NFL right now if he wasn't a psycho. Isaiah Thomas, you had so many of those guys, Isaiah Coe, like the role players, everybody kind of
Yeah.
found their role. And,
Mhm.
everybody gave Deshaun White, a ton of shit when he was here. But I mean, dude saved our ass. He might have been one of the best linebackers we had in quite a long time. And so
Mm.
you then go to, Danny's first year, and man,
That was a
you
great
knew that
pickup.
Brent Venables.
You gotta give him credit for that one because Brent wouldn't have gotten him.
No.
He wasn't recruiting him.
And Danny's ready to that defense down in New Orleans is kind of the saving factor for their team right now.
And he's playing limited time and killing it when he's in.
They love him down there.
Yes,
They
they do.
absolutely love him down there.
Yes, they do. Billy, they love him
I-
in Atlanta too. They're loving Billy.
Unfortunately, him getting hurt for the rest of the season, but
Yeah.
it's there's this you're going to see more and more and more now because when you start getting Jaden Jackson and David Stone and now R Mason,
Yeah.
you start getting all these guys going into the draft. That's what people are going to
Dominic Williams is
absolutely.
gonna be really good when he gets there, I think too. I think that
Yeah.
he's his stats, you don't see him on paper, but he
No,
takes up double teams an awful lot.
he's one of those guys that people will point at and say, all right, so here's what, you got to, he'll be a guy who will never have like 20 tackles or anything like that. He'll
No.
just be a guy that the commentators are always talking about, trying to get him off his spot. Like he's just an anchor.
He's eating blocks.
Yeah.
He eats blocks.
Get to the get to NFL, get up around 3:30, something like that. You know,
Mhm.
he'll be there for a while.
Yeah, he'll do
But
fine. I love Dominic. He's doing a great job. G Baby too. Wow, G Baby. And you got Nigel coming in after that. So I'm excited about like
you know, Nigel's at like 290 something right now.
Mhm.
And so he's, you know, we always
ready
knew
to
that.
fit. I mean, remember when we had him on and he talked about he seeing himself as G Baby, you know,
Yeah.
like that role.
Well, he's
Player,
going
his
to,
game is similar like that.
you know, next year you're going to have, you know, we already said Jaden Jackson,
And
you know,
Stoney is
David Stone.
Stoney has become wow.
He is the difference between, he resets the line of scrimmage, and it's frustrating. Hopefully, he gets some preseason All SEC stuff, because I think that them leaving out quite a bit of defensive tackles
So
out of
stupid.
the those selections, it was crazy. They have now there's a bunch of edges that people loved, and apparently but inside guys they just didn't do it. But
Yeah, I know.
next year, you know, I think that you're going to see a
Again, I think a lot
big,
of that is that rotation. So many guys
uh,
playing.
yeah. I mean, like I said, you know, you lose G Baby, but I think that we're going to see a lot more from Nigel, from Marcus Strong. Trent Wilson is going to be a guy. I think Trent
Trent.
Wilson is the
Oh
next guy
yeah.
that's the next, you know, for next year.
Mhm.
Um, I
Well,
think that you'll see.
they keep talking about Wyatt Gilmore being like another Taylor Wine.
Oh yeah, and then you still have like CJ Nixon, who is a
Oh
pure
shit.
freshman, 6'3", 254. You're going to have Kroll come in, and Kroll's going to, I'll just say it, Kroll's going to be one of those guys who he's going to come in and he's going to have some, you know, some rotations. He's going to, it's setting the edge, being out there to do that, because the pass rush stuff, I think from day one, he's going to be one of the better pass rushers. But you're going to have, again, 9 guys on the defensive line that you feel comfortable with.
See, that's beautiful. And this is the kind of stuff you want to. Well, these are the things that you hoped that Brent would get to this point, so that you would get these fruits, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And so
And
if you're,
if you can pair, I mean, I don't want it to turn into the opposite of what it was with Lincoln Riley, which is all offense, no defense. Now to no defense, all defense, no offense. But if you can just, we don't need a Lincoln Riley offense. What we need is a 24, 28 point offense that doesn't turn the ball over, runs it well.
and Okoye next year.
Ooh, I
Like,
love him. I can't
I'm,
wait. He's already flashing now. He's flashing
he
now when
is.
he gets his opportunities.
He's got a lot of havoc rate, and he's a guy who I
Mhm.
think, you know, I kind of said it about David Stone. He just needed to get a taste, and once he got a taste, he was going to go savage. I think Okoye is right there too.
Mhm. Oh,
All right.
exciting time. It's an exciting time, man. It's an exciting time. You can say the one person you're actually afraid of is Okoye. You're really afraid of the whole team. It's the truth. We know it. You know it. You didn't make the playoff. You won this year. You didn't make the playoff. Troublesome down in Austin. It's troublesome. Especially if you lose your coach, like Coop said. Lincoln Riley.
Listen, if I will just, if Lincoln Riley, he'll never have to come to Norman unless first round of the playoffs scenario.
Never to Norman. Oh yeah. Okay.
Josiah Martin, I
Just
think Josiah Martin's just really small.
at
I mean,
Cal.
you know, the transfer in, yeah, from this year. But I want to say here, I'm on
Oh,
the
the
roster.
receiver from Cal. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I want to say he is like 160 pounds, 163
The
pounds.
little
So
dude,
like,
man. Yeah, yeah. Kinda the
I
same
think
thing
that
with
you
like
had in,
Reagan's.
yeah, I think in the transfer portal, we're going to see a little bit of a refresh from the wide receiver, tight ends. Like, I think that we're probably going to see I wouldn't be surprised you see 4 receivers leave.
So
Probably
Kearney,
the entire tight end room.
I the only I what I really wish we would see some carry on in those certain situations down throwing up 50-50 balls to him. I don't understand why he's not playing in those situations. But
I guess, I mean,
I've never seen
what
him
it
drop
was
a ball is the reason I say that. I've never seen him drop a football.
what was explained to me was
Is it separation? What is it?
a lot of, well, I mean, a lot of fans see a scenario and go, haha, there you go. Well, obviously, if you throw out, hey, listen, Texas homie, you guys can get all the stats that you want. You can score whatever you want. Will you guys score more than 10 on Georgia? So
Yep.
I can play the game too. But if you want to talk about a specific stat, you win the game. You play to win the game. And if we win the game 3-0, I don't give a shit.
But and just so you know, we scored 33 against Tennessee on the road this year.
So at least get the stats right. But if you see carry on not at all, and then you run him out there in a jump ball type of scenario, people are going to know what's coming. And is the potential of carry on better than a Satania opportunity or like Mateer running the ball in or trying to get to the running backs? That's kind of how it was explained to me, is like, yeah, it's an exciting opportunity, but it's based off of nothing except for potential. Like it has a potential to be something different. So, but yeah, Manny Choice, we got some taller guys coming in.
I
There's
like
going to be a
Manny.
lot more. Yeah,
I like
there's going
Manny.
to be a
And
lot more.
Giovanni, if Giovanni can get, I think that he's still kind of getting back to his self. Well,
Yeah.
after I mean, it's a broken leg. Shit. I mean, it'd take a little time, but he's looked better lately. So
Against LSU, I mean, the
missed
one
this.
where they called, the one where they blew the play dead, he was going to be off to the races on that one too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was so much bullshit when they did that too.
And so I mean, I just, again, yeah,
Did our
got some
twin
bigger.
Heisman yet?
Yeah.
I love it. I love this stuff. Coop, I gotta get out of here, bud.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming in and hanging with me, though, man. It's been a while since I've had you on.
It's well, every single, so I figure that if we do a 3-hour show,
Oh,
that's just one of those things that I enjoy talking through all the topics and getting off the schedule. But yeah, man,
yeah, we
appreciate
did too.
you. Hopefully, I'm gonna try to find out what my schedule looks like next week with everything, and take CJ Baxter going to tear it up next year, his ACL or for another team because he's in the portal.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
What's up,
but yeah,
Neilio?
thanks for having me on, Neilio. Miss you, dude.
Yep. Man, appreciate you coming in, Neilio. Hey, yeah, appreciate everybody coming in. Make sure you guys get over. Obviously, most of you guys are all watching Coop with Jay over on Unfair Sports. But if you're not, make sure you get over there and do it. They're doing lots of great content over there as always. Unfair Sports with Jay and Coop. Man, what do you guys got coming up?
Like I said, we're gonna try to figure out what's going on for the next couple of days since we've got the playoffs hitting. We're gonna do some, try to do some, pilot type opportunities, but for just in general, like not really OU lean. But yeah, the rebuild over in
Different kind of
Bush has definitely
It's
begun.
some different
But
new content ideas.
yeah,
I'm working through a couple of those kind of things myself. We should definitely get together on some of that.
okay, yeah, and then I did a couple of the parent interviews this year. We had a lot of good interviews with some of the recruits. Did the one with just Share Rogers, pretty cool guy. That's a go get the ball wherever it's at type of a guy. So, man, I'm always excited. And then obviously, hopefully this playoff run just takes a few weeks to get through. I know it's going to be the gap between the selection or between LSU and next Saturday seems like forever. I feel like the if you make it past Alabama, the gap is going to feel even worse. But hopefully Christmas and New Year's kind of takes that out because everybody else is going to be playing football.
Hell yeah, man! It'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun. I hope they get it done this next week. But we'll definitely get together on some of that stuff, and then, and man, hopefully they play into January, man. That'd be great. Be great stuff.
Definitely.
What an
Love it.
awesome thing to. I mean, we can argue about shit that doesn't matter then, so it'll be cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Appreciate you coming in, man. Appreciate all you guys for coming in as well and hanging out with us. Stephen G, Killer Horse, all you guys, Ronnie Wheat. Glad to see you guys in here, Satterfield. Man, everybody kind of popped in towards the end. But yeah, man, make sure you hit the like button. We're still hanging on, trying to get to that 5,000 mark. Help us get to that by hitting that subscriber button, sharing us with your friends, things like that. Appreciate y'all coming in. We'll see you all on the next one.